over the hill, Grahamstown, Baintown, from everywhere they're coming. They're the people's choice, the Saxon Superstars.
Hello? Who's in the morning?
Bruce!
Yeah, your Jordan is finishing.
We know you're watching. We can feel you. We know that you are afraid. Afraid of us. You're afraid of change. You're afraid of what happens when the Bahamian people find out that you've lied to them. I'm going to hang up this phone, and we are going to tell them everything. We are going to tell them who they are and what you took from them. Change is not coming. Change is here.
Fellow Bahamians, you have been lied to. You have been told that you are poor, that you have no wealth and no resources. You have been told that your natural resources are worth nothing. You've been told that even if you had natural resources that only the wealthy could afford to mine and process it. While you were struggling to survive, they were secretly shipping billions of tons of your natural resources out of the country. It's time to learn the truth. It's time to end this myth. There is a dangerous cohort called the oligarchs. They have been using your beloved politicians as puppets to do their bidding. To distract you with rallies, handouts and jobs while they ran off with your riches. So the question is, how do you get your resources out of the hands of the oligarchs and into the hands of the Bahamian people? It's easier than you think. Today, I have come as the bearer of good news. And that is that change is not coming, change is here.
Good night, citizens of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. After July 10th, 1973, these 700 islands, rocks and keys was given back to the Bahamian people as retribution. No government or government agency has the right to withhold anything from its citizens. The Constitution is the supreme law of the land. Any government withholds anything from its citizens should not be the government of the Bahamas. The natural resources of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas belongs to the Bahamian people, not to a political party. We want our natural resource, and we will take it.
Good afternoon, Bahamas, and welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you all for being here. It is always a pleasure to be here with you. It is always a wonderful pleasure to be here with you. Thank you for tuning in. Ladies and gentlemen, I am so excited about tonight's live. You know, many of our lives, we give a lot of information, we drop a lot of documents, but tonight, what we're going to feature tonight is what it is all about. This is really the vision that started it all. And I think that you need to share this with your friends and family. Many of you who support us now or just started supporting us have never seen Vision 2025. This is the vision that transformed the nation. This is the vision that the government is going to and plucking ideas from and sharpening ideas, but presenting it in such a way that you don't benefit from it. This is, ladies and gentlemen, Vision 2025. And we are re-releasing this tonight for a very special reason. And we're going to tell you that reason after we've played it. We're going to do this in two parts. We're going to do a part of it tonight. We're going to release a part of Vision 2025 tonight, so half of it, an hour. And then we're going to have discussions. We're going to allow you to call in. We're going to allow you to join in the conversation. Talk about what you've seen, what you've experienced, what do you think about it. Give your ideas. How can you improve on it, etc. We're going to have those conversations. All right. But before I get started, I just want to welcome a few of you. Let me see who is here and where you are from. Let me see who is here and where you are from tonight. All right. So someone says, Hope Brave is watching. They are always watching. Brave and his crew are always watching. Him and his speechwriters and there are people, they're always watching. All right. So good night, Stephen Riley. Good night to you. Watching from Abaco, that is Cordelia Williams. Cordelia Williams. Thank you. Chanel Swain is watching. Glenford Roll is watching. Mel Bryce is in Abaco. John Roll is in Freeport. South Beach is in the building. That is Gucci L. Maine. Dale Ellis is watching. Had me reading the Constitution, they say. It's starting to go fast. I got to pull this up now and make sure I can see what you're talking about. Angela Clark is watching from, I think that's Freeport. I see Elutra is watching. Okay, let me slow this down. Let me slow it down. Okay, let's slow that down. All right. Y'all are rolling. All right, let's go back down. All right, let's go up. Let me see who's watching. Who's watching? Dawn Gibson is watching. Good evening to you. Kessia McPhee. Good night, Bahamians. Okay, that was from before. Okay, let me keep going. I see Gucci Mane. All right, Anastasia Brooks is in the Turks and Caicos Island. Patrick Stewart is in Tall Pines. Bella K says goodnight, Bahamas. Trika Mullings is watching, says greetings from Freeport. Raquel Davis says goodnight from Freeport. Oh, yeah, Freeport. Listen, man, we had an amazing time in Freeport. We want to thank all of you who showed your support. Freeport is ready for change. Freeport is tired of going back and forth because that don't never work out for them. So Freeport is smartening up. All right, and we're going to see change in Freeport. We're going to take all 5 seats in Freeport, and we are going to turn Grand Bahama into the jewel of the world, not of the region. The world is going to talk about Grand Bahama, the whole entire world. Raquel Davis, good night from Freeport. Brenda Ferguson is in Marco City. Bob Joey is from Elutra. Angie Clark is in Freeport. Marilyn Ferguson is watching. We got Tamika Knowles in Eleuthera. Bella Kay is in Nassau. Stephen Riley is in North Andros. Kunkale Kunkala is watching, and that last video was Kunkale. The man is so talented. Andy Smith is from New York. He's watching. Thank you for tuning in, Andy Smith. LaRon Lightborn is watching from Freeport. Mr. Quincy Williams is watching from Freeport. Elvis Green is also watching. Good night, Bahamas from Seabreeze, and that is Betty Ferguson. Thank you, Betty. Live from Dawn Gibson is watching from Crooked Island. Crooked Island is in the house. That's where my ancestors are from. No, not my ancestors, my daddy. Tabitha Culmer is watching from Eleuthera. Listen, we are coming to Eleuthera soon. Stay tuned, Eleuthera. We're coming to Eleuthera. Make sure to get in one of our WhatsApp groups. Make sure you send a message to our office number. I'll put it up later. And make sure you're in one of our WhatsApp groups. Eleuthera, we are coming. We got to take Eleuthera back. Good evening from Florida. That's Tanel Taylor. Jerome Burrows is in Grand Bahama. Troy Higgs in Freeport. Uh, Donna Major is watching. Kevin Williams is also watching from Yamacraw. Paul Major is watching. Valentino Burrows is here watching. Thank you, Valentino Burrows. Carrington Deans is good evening to all. I'm in the house, Mr. President. Thank you so much. Welcome. Conclave is in Freeport. Leonard Cartwright is watching from Baintown. Yes, Baintown is actually historically from my family, my ancestors. I think my dad's great granddad gave Baintown to the slaves. And so that's how history goes on that. So I have connection to Baintown. Who's watching? Golden Godis is watching from Nassau. Thank you. Chanel Pinda is watching from Carmichael Road. Thank you, Chanel. The Bahamas for Bahamians activist group is watching. So the Bahamas are nothing. Watching from Atlanta. Thank you so much. Yes, Bahamas are nothing. We're going to change this country. Dwight and Sandra are watching from Freeport. Thank you and welcome. Make sure you all share this. This is the big one. This is the vision. Make sure you get your family there. Call them, WhatsApp them, tell them, get on this live. Talk to your family and friends. This is the one that's going to take us into the new Bahamas, into the next Bahamas. This is it. Faye Ferguson is watching. Good night from Freeport. Neil from Pinewood is watching. Hello, my Prime Minister. Thank you to Neil. It's always a pleasure to have you and all of my Pinewood people. Ian Bethel is watching from Freeport. Says, tell the death of me. Yeah, I am COI till I die. Don't worry about that. This one is for life. We are going to transform this for the Bahamian people. Chanel Swain is in Abaco. Alex Curry. Say off. King Charles. King Charles Drive. We need to change the name of the road. Okay. West Palm is in the house. That's Lil Steve Lewis. Loyandra Burrows is watching from Golden Gate. Thank you. Eddie Smith is in Abaco. Ali Jones is watching from Golden Isles. Welcome, Golden Isles. We're going to send an amazing candidate down there. I'm looking forward to us taking Golden Isles and taking Golden Isles back. To Neil Taylor, good evening to you. Makwa Woodside is in West Palm Beach. Thank you, Makwa. Good night, all. That's Starboy Roll. Shamari Duncombe is in Atlanta. All right, Anastasia Books in Turks and Caicos. Din Hanna is here. Hatchet Bay, that is McNeil Newbold. Thank you, McNeil. Chantel Dorset in Sunshine Park is watching. Thank you so much, Chantel Dorset. We appreciate you. Dwight Thurston is also watching. Good night. Good night from Eleuthera. Nassau Village is in the house. All right. And good evening to all the rest of you. Can't call all of them, as you know. We got to get on. So Cheryl Turner is in Pinewood. Thank you, Cheryl. We appreciate you. Marlene is in Southern Shores. What do we got here? Ian Bethel says Freeport. Tell the death of me. Bamboo Town's in the house. That's Brunel Ferguson. Welcome, Bamboo Town. That's Maria Daxton right there. Dwight Thurston is in Nassau. All right. I'm outside with my family watching. Just need some popcorn. Oh my God. Listen, y'all. Pop the corn. Pop the corn. Watch this on the big screen. If you watch it on your phone, the best way probably to watch it is to turn your phone sideways like that. You can see so if you turn it like this, you're going to see Facebook. If you're watching on Facebook, YouTube has the best view, I think. But if you're watching on Facebook, you can see it here from YouTube, the comments. But if you turn it like that, you can see the comments on the side here and us there. You can see comments from not just from Facebook, but from YouTube and every other platform that we're on. You can see the comments right there. So you'll see more than just Facebook comments. And you'll see the comments from every platform, because some are watching from my platform, some from COI, some from Bahamas Evolution, Bahamian Evolution. And so you'll see all of the comments in one place. Just turn it sideways and you'll be good to go. All right. And you'll get a kind of better view. All right. So good night, everybody. I got to get started. This is a powerful one. This was inspired. This was extremely inspired. And we decided to, when we started on Bahamian Evolution, we started to uncover some things. And then it didn't make sense to just show what was wrong. When we found the what was going wrong in this country and what was being stolen from us and stolen as the Bahamian people, we went and became activists, and we decided to go and take it to the government. We decided to file things and put things in place so that the Bahamian people can see that these people are evil. The reason we filed for commissions of inquiry is so you could see that these people are not serious. We filed a bill in the House was not even to get the bill tabled, even though it was tabled. It was so you can see that these people are against you. So that you can see that both PLP and FNM were against the people benefiting from their natural resources. We wanted you to see it with your own eyes. See, it's one thing to say you love the people, but when your foot is put to the fire, that is when you're going to see the real truth. All right? So that is why we did what we did. We want to create a country that our children can come back to. Our children are leaving this country in droves. Our brain drain, the future of this country is being wiped away from us. As our children are now telling their parents they're not coming back home. We have failed our young people. Everyone in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s, we have failed our young people because we have not created a home that they could come back to. You are not a good parent if you have not provided a home for your children. And I put it to you that you are not a good parent if you have not provided a country for your home, for your children to call home. And not only are we letting our homes slip away because we are not building the country that we need, we are now letting our home be overrun by others, by outsiders. And our children are being pushed out. When they come back with their degree, they are being told that they are overqualified. And that's because there's no vision here. It's a plantation. So you don't need a science degree on a plantation. Go pick some corn. You don't need a special degree on a plantation. Go fold some bed. Go serve some drinks. This is a plantation. And this is a plantation economy. And this is what we have to transform. And this is what we have to change. And if we don't change it now, we're going to be in trouble. This great dream that Pinland dreamed of is going to be gone. And we can't blame anyone but ourselves. I saw that the Prime Minister, the producer was trying to play the video, and the video just froze up. And I think it's for a reason of the Prime Minister saying that basically they're not touching the shanty towns in Abaco. One day they want to move them, but for now he says there's an injunction in place, so they're not touching them. By that coming out of his mouth, that is open season for the illegal immigrants to now know that you can now go and do what you have to do and the government isn't going to touch you because they can't touch you until after this case. But yet they are harassing Bahamians. They could go to Abaco and break down the domes that Bahamians were living in, lie on the situation and say that all of the domes were moldy and in a bad situation, in a bad state. That is not the truth. We need a change. So I'm not going to focus on the Prime Minister's speech. I'm not focusing on these people. They have no vision. We need a vision for the future. Right now, the country is failing in every single aspect. Every area that you can think of, it's an absolute failure after almost 50 years of independence. In healthcare, we are failing. We are failing the patients. We are failing the nurses. The state of the hospital is terrible. Crime, we are failing miserably. The Prime Minister just went and did a speech. And in this speech, he complained about the guns that's coming into our country, and he blamed someone else for the guns coming into our country. He was blaming America for the guns that come here. We have a duty to protect our land. Wherever the guns are coming from, we have a duty to protect our land, but you have no vision, and that's why it's happening. The guns are coming here because you have an open border from Haiti. Yes, the gun serial numbers come from America because they're made there, but it's going to Haiti and coming to the Bahamas. Now, some of the guns are coming on yachts from America, but very few of them. The majority of the guns are coming to Haiti because it's open season. I can tell you what I saw. It's open season. And so if you have our borders open for Haiti, How can you now complain to America with your nonsense speech, talking about freedom, right to carry arms, isn't the right to smuggle arms or ship arms, whatever that nonsense is that you said. I was embarrassed by your speech. We can take measures, strong, stern measures. England got rid of guns on their streets. England got rid of guns on their streets because they put strong laws in place. There's a way to deal with it, but you guys don't want to deal with it because you encourage and harbor criminals. We need vision. On education, we are failing miserably. Miserably. In every area of this society, I won't go into everything, but you sit down and you look at every single ministry. We are failing. You have a new ministry, natural resources. You have done nothing with it. Epic fail. Nothing with it. We need a new vision for this country. We need new leaders that can take us into the new Bahamas. We need new leaders that can take us into the next Bahamas. We're going to have this discussion afterwards. We're going to open up the lines. We're going to let you talk. We're going to play half of the video today, half of Vision 2025 today. And there's a reason we're playing this today, and I'm going to reveal it to you after we finish playing it today. There's a special reason we are playing this today, that we're releasing this today. Got a good announcement for you. But I want you to watch Vision 25. It's in two pieces. It's showing you how we do this, how we're going to do this, how we're going to change this country. Now, we have many natural resources. Everything you see is a natural resource. The dirt on the ground, the trees, the wood on the trees, everything you see is a natural resource. The water in the ocean with the salt in it, everything is a natural resource. So we have many natural resources. I hear sometimes people saying, oh, how many natural resources do we have? Listen, our natural resources are innumerable. They are innumerable. So to sit down and say that we have 11 natural resources or 13 natural resources is a fallacy. Everything from the conch shell to the fish, to the bones in the fish, everything that you can see is a natural resource. Not just the tree, the sap inside the tree. Everything is a natural resource. It's just whether we have the people who know what to do with it and to make it, to monetize it. Everything is a natural resource. And so we use one natural resource. We talked about the sand and the aragonite as an example, just to show you numbers of where we can go with this. The effort here was to educate our people and to wake us up. We also talked about carbon credits. Now we have the government talking about it, but in a way that you don't benefit. Ladies and gentlemen, the vision that you're about to see is vision casting. It's not details. It's the vision casting to let us see the direction that we could go in. It is a mind-blowing vision. We're going to start today. We're going to play the last part of it on Sunday. You see all kinds of ideas about what we're going to do, the new kind of houses we're going to build, where you're going to get paid to live in a house. Can you imagine getting paid to live in a house? It's happening now around the world, getting paid to live in a house. Yes. So not low-cost housing where they take our crown land and sell it back to us and make sure that their corrupt company makes money from it. No, you get paid to live in a house because of carbon credits. There's so much transformation that you're going to see in this video. I don't want to introduce it too much. I'm going to let this video play. It's going to be playing for about an hour. I want you to watch this and we're going to discuss this. And then we're going to watch the last part next week. So you're going to see some of the numbers, how we're going to do this, how we're going to get free electricity, how we're going to get free healthcare. All of the numbers are here. How we're going to get free internet and data. It's all there. Ladies and gentlemen, come with me on this journey. On this journey to New Bahamas. On this journey to true Bahamas. A better Bahamas. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the vision. The vision for the next set of Bahamians. The vision that's going to bring your children back home. The vision that is going to change the way we live, to change the way that we think about ourselves. Is going to change everything. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Vision 2025.
There are many natural resources in the Bahamas. There are many, many natural resources in the Bahamas. And of course, we can list all of them. It would take us time to go through all of them. And actually, for this Vision 2025, it would take us so long to analyze the business case for each one of them that this would be too long. So what we're going to do today is we're going to focus on the main tangible and intangible natural resource that we have. The main and most valuable natural resource that we have here in the Bahamas is sand. It is sand. And so while we're casting this vision, this is not a manifesto. I just want to repeat that in case persons didn't see the previous video. This is not a manifesto. This is not about how many bus stops we need or how many nurses or we need to build more schools, etc. This is not a manifesto. This is the casting of a vision. And this is to answer the question of many people, how do we get from where we are to where other countries are? How do we get from a developing nation to a developed nation? How do we get to benefiting from our natural resources? It's going to answer the question, do our natural resources have value? We're going to answer these questions today. Can we make money? Can every Bahamian get a check for $100,000? Well, we're going to crunch the numbers today and we're going to answer this question. Make sure, please share this. Please share this with as many people as possible so that we have to spread the word. This is the only way that we're going to get to the next level. We have to share the word. Imagine a Bahamas where your passport is more valuable than any other passport in this country. Imagine, instead of us going to Miami to have babies, Bahamians in Miami are trying to come home to have their baby in the Bahamas. Imagine that Bahamas. That Bahamas is not coming. That Bahamas is here. Are you ready for it? Well, the only way that that is going to happen is if you make it happen, ladies and gentlemen. So here we go. The number one tangible asset that we have is sand, including aragonite, which is a type of sand. It's sand. Sand is the most valuable asset in the world. Sand is worth more than oil, it's worth more than gold, it's worth more than diamonds. It is the most valuable asset that we have. It is. The most valuable tangible asset in the Bahamas is something called carbon credits, and you're going to learn about that in a minute. It's called carbon credits. So today we're going to talk about sand and aragonite, and we're going to talk about carbon credits. And so remember, our purpose is to get you from where you are to where we need to be. Can we benefit from this? We're going to answer those questions. And of course, there are more questions that have to be answered. There are people who's going to have to take this over that we're paying the 5- and 6-figure salaries to, who are going to have to put the details together. But we're going to cast the vision today with the numbers. And of course, there's things we have to consider like conservation, which is the most important because we cannot monetize and destroy. And so conservation is an important part of everything we do. So keep that in consideration while we're talking about monetization. And so here we go. We're going to focus on sand today. It is the second most valuable, most used resource in the world, second to only water. It's really air and water, but no one counts air. We're talking about sand today. They use it to make everything. You've seen our documentaries. If you don't know what they use it for by now, please go and look. But everything in the world basically uses it. Whether it's food or electronics or building, they use sand for everything. It is the most used thing after only water. I repeat that. Sand is extremely rare. And all of the easily accessible sand is gone. And so the sand that they need to get now is going to be found under the sea. And guess who has the most easily accessible sand under the sea? It's us. It's the Bahamas. There's something going on around the world called sand wars. And there are sand mafias that are popping up all over the world. And there's literally mafias, over sand, because sand is so valuable. These mafias are not trafficking drugs. They're not trafficking bootleg. They're not trafficking prostitution. They are trafficking sand. Can you believe that? That is how valuable this thing we have is. That mafias have formed over this. Because it's used to make everything, including the most needed resource, which is land. But we'll get to that in a minute. The first thing we need to make this vision happen, y'all, the first thing we need is the Freedom of Information Act. Moving on from now to the near future, my fellow Bahamians, we must demand our Freedom of Information Act. We now know, based on our investigations and the documentaries that we've put out there, that there has been corruption. there has been gross corruption as it relates to our natural resources. There have been things that they have hidden from us. They have put in writing that they will hide these things from us. They've put that in documentation signed with foreigners that they will hide the truth about what the agreements was. That is tantamount to treason. And so we need our Freedom of Information Act, and we need it now. They have enacted it, and it only takes a signature and appointing a commissioner, and this is done. But of course, they are stalling and holding out because there are secrets. They are trying to figure out how they can enact a Freedom of Information Act if they have put in writing that they must keep certain things secret. That is one of the things that they are grappling with. And they put themselves in that problem. But it's our job to demand the truth. It's our job to demand that they do what is right. We must get our Freedom of Information Act. That is extremely important. What is a sovereign wealth fund? That is the question of the day. What is a sovereign wealth fund? Well, a sovereign wealth fund is similar to a bank account. All right? It's just a fund. It's an account. A sovereign wealth fund is like saying, I have a bank account. The question is, what are you going to do with that bank account? What type of bank account is it? Is it a checking account? Is it a savings account? What kind of account of it? So a sovereign wealth fund is a generic term that can mean anything. Different countries call it different things. And so we have to determine what a sovereign wealth fund means to us. Different countries have different types of sovereign wealth funds. So, for example, the sovereign wealth fund in Norway is different from the sovereign wealth fund in Dubai. The sovereign wealth fund in Alaska is different from the sovereign wealth fund in Qatar. And they sometimes call it different names. Some of them call it a pension fund. Some of them call it a pension. They call it different things. But it is how people benefit that makes it different. What all of these sovereign wealth funds have in common is that their people benefit from it. The Bahamas actually already has a Sovereign Wealth Fund Act that initiated a sovereign wealth fund that made it possible and legal. The only difference is the one that they gave to us in the Bahamas, we are not allowed to benefit from as a people. Our people are not going to benefit from it. Is that a sovereign wealth fund that you want? If not, we need to reject it. In fact, I categorically say we need to reject that sovereign wealth fund. And we're going to fight with all of our might for them to give us a proper sovereign wealth fund that benefits the people. For too long, we have not benefited from what has been going on in this country. And it's time for us to benefit and from our sovereign wealth fund. So, in some countries, they don't give cash. I heard one person on one talk show host say that, well, in Alaska, they give cash, but they only give $5,000 cash, I heard that this person said. But if Christmas is coming up in December and you can get $5,000 from your sovereign wealth fund, would you be complaining? Does that sound like something to complain about? If Christmas is coming and you get $2,000 from the government, does that sound like something to complain about? It sounds like you're getting cash in your pocket. There are countries that don't give cash. And so some persons have said that, like Norway. Norway does not give a check. They do not give money to you from their sovereign wealth fund. That is their choice. They chose not to do that because they wanted the sovereign wealth fund to build so that eventually they would not be dependent on oil. And now they're to the point where that came true. And so because they don't give checks, they have the biggest sovereign wealth fund in the world. And that is $1.4 trillion is in their sovereign wealth fund because they don't give cash. But obviously, they could give cash if they wanted to. If that was the Bahamas with $1.4 trillion, that would be $4 million for every single Bahamian. Every single Bahamian. So they don't give cash because they wanted it to build up. What does that mean? That now that they have $4 trillion in assets, that means that just on their trading alone, last year they made 20% from trading. Just on trading the market. They made another 7.5% on that money from their real estate investments, and they made another 7% from fixed investments. So they made over $200 billion from just air, from trading, from nothing tangible. Without trading 1 ounce of oil, they made $200 billion just on trading the over $1 trillion that they have. And that is where they wanted to get. Now they can do whatever they want. They're in a comfortable position. And so we're going to talk about that a little bit more. So every sovereign wealth fund does something different. There are sovereign wealth funds that do give major benefits. They have no taxes. In the United Arab Emirates, there's no personal taxes, there's no VAT, there's no kind of personal taxes at all. And so they also give, every time a child is born, they open a bank account, they give you $100,000 when you become 18. They give you $20,000 every time you get married, and they give you land on top of that. They bury you. When you die, you don't have to worry about your funeral. They pay for your funeral expenses and your funeral costs. They pay for your education. Your education is absolutely free, whether it's in Dubai or if you travel to some other country. They pay for everything, including your ticket to get there, including your food, your room and board, everything they pay for as benefits. They give you $3,000 a month as a benefit. My Lord, that's because they feel that their people own the natural resources and they should benefit from it, not a small group of people. And so, can we benefit from this as Bahamians? Can we? Yes, we can. Where are we going to get the assets to put into this sovereign wealth fund? That's the next question. The assets to go into this sovereign wealth fund are as follows. All of our natural resources will go into the sovereign wealth fund. All of them, known and unknown. All of our crown land will go into this sovereign wealth fund, and all government-owned buildings, etc. And we will we will hire sovereign asset managers. Sovereign asset management companies are hired by these companies that have sovereign wealth funds to manage the sovereign wealth funds. So there's no corruption, there's no cronies. You are not allowed. The Sovereign Wealth Fund Act that we instituted in the Bahamas, the government is able to put their cronies in place, and those cronies decide what happens with the people's funds. They determine when investments are made and where this money goes. That cannot be accepted. And you can see that Norway hired Norge Bank. You can see that these other countries, they hire sovereign asset management companies, and they negotiate the pricing of your sovereign wealth fund. They negotiate the profit and renegotiate the profit. This is what has to happen. We cannot allow them to pull the wool over our eyes again. We are the next generation of Bahamians. We have to be smarter than them. So yes, they will tell you, we have a sovereign wealth fund, but they put some things in it that is going to disadvantage the Bahamian people. Please share this so that Bahamians can finally wake up. And so these are some of the things that's going to happen with the sovereign wealth fund. And so, income. Where is this sovereign wealth fund going to get money from? Important question. And so this will determine if we can actually do this. You're going to make money from royalties. It's going to make money from taxes on the sovereign wealth fund. So you're going to pay royalties. A person is going to pay taxes on the sovereign wealth fund from the exploitation of our natural resources. We're going to get it from return on investment. All right, return on investment. So the sovereign wealth fund is going to make certain investments, and then it's going to be returned to us, and that is the money that's going to go to our Bahamian people. All right, we're going to make it from sale and trade of carbon credits. You're going to learn about that in a minute. You need to be here to listen to that. Sale and trade of carbon credits is going to change this country forever. This is huge. All right, and the last one is we're going to make it from taxing of businesses within our country. All right, 10% tax on every business that's in our country. That's some of the income that's going to come in to the sovereign wealth fund. So the exploitation of our natural resources by us and by others, but we're going to tax them, and Bahamians and the sovereign state will be allowed to exploit our natural resources, but we are going to benefit this time, not others. All right, listen carefully. Now, it's time to analyze the business side of this, because people are asking, is this thing possible? It's time to analyze the business side of this. All right, so is the sand business, and when I say sand, I'm including aragonite. Remember, sand and aragonite is the same thing. All right, well, aragonite is a type of sand. Is the sand business worth it? Can money be made? There have been people who have been saying, oh, there's no money in it. You can't make money from that. Oh, it's worth nothing. Well, let's analyze that for a second. And we encourage all of you to look for yourselves and research on this. But we're going to analyze that for a second so that we know how we're going to change this country. All right? There is massive demand for sand. I was shocked when I heard people saying on social media, etc., that the sand is not worth anything. We can't get any money for sand. How could you not get anything, any money for the most in-demand resource on the planet? How could that even be remotely possible? We use 50 gigatons of sand every year. That is 5 billion tons is what the world uses every single year. And that is only what is recorded. They believe that the vast majority of sand is actually is not accounted for. Because of the sand wars and the sand mafia, that much of this sand is smuggled out. You saw evidence, you saw where persons said on our last documentary that they saw sand being smuggled out. Not only did they see sand being smuggled out, they participated in it. They saw sand that was dredged out to sea, and they put it on ships right out to sea that came for it, and those ships left the country with the sand. There is no record. There is no country that will have that sand on record. Sand smuggling is a major, major business because many countries have slowed down on allowing sand to be dredged because they were running out of their sand. And so what persons do is they decide to smuggle the sand. How could this not be worth anything? How could that be possible? If the world is running out of water, and we are the only country, and Andros is the only place that has water, how could that water not be valuable? Let's think for a minute. After water, the most needed and demanded thing is sand. And so if the world is running out of that, how could it not be valuable? That's an easy question to answer. 51 countries in the world are reclaiming sea to create land on a major level. 51 countries are adding to their landmass by dumping sand. So you remember what Dubai did by adding to their landmass, where they created these artificial islands? There are 51 countries in the world heavily engaged in that, and they are in desperate need of sand. They can't get enough of it because they use sand to do so. And they can't use the sand that's in the desert. So Dubai even had to import sand, even though they are a desert. They had to import sand. They needed the sand desperately. And so this is in heavy demand. China alone increased their landmass by 4,600 square miles. 4,600 square miles. China did. Can you imagine that? Do you know what 4,600 square miles is? Let me put that in perspective for you. The whole entire island of Abaco is only 3,600 square miles. The whole entire island. The whole entire New Providence is only 147 square miles. The whole of Andros is about 4,000 square miles. And so you could take Andros, Grand Bahama, New Providence, maybe Freeport, put them together. And that is what China has done to expand to their landmass. Pay close attention. That sand had to come from somewhere, and someone benefited from that. Some country made money from that while we were asleep. Singapore imported 69 million tons of sand from Malaysia alone last year. Malaysia has now banned them from importing sand. And so Malaysia actually reported that they believe that Singapore actually imported 133 million tons of sand, while Singapore admitted to only importing 3 million, but much of it was smuggled in. Can you imagine that? And Singapore paid up to $190 per ton. $190 per ton. Remember people telling you that, oh, it's not worth anything. You can only get a certain amount per ton for it. Singapore alone, and this is sand that does not have to be processed. They just took it and dumped it in order to increase their landmass because they're a small island. $190 per ton is what they made. Countries all around them have banned them from importing. They want to build another 20 square miles of landmass. They need to get it from somewhere. We have what they need. They need a lot of sand in order to do that. A lot of sand. The Netherlands built 2,700 square miles of extra landmass by importing sand. Korea did 600 square miles. So this thing is in major demand. We have the customers, y'all. We have the customers. It is very easy to understand. So let's say you do this math quickly. Let's say that Singapore imported 59 million tons of sand and they paid $190 per ton. That is $11.2 billion. $11.2 billion. You do the math. Our entire year budget is $2.5 billion. Our entire country's debt over all of its existence is $10 billion. That covers your entire debt and covers some of your budget for the whole year, and no one has to pay $1 in taxes. That one transaction. Amazing. From one country. And so other areas where we are able to get income from our natural resource we call sand is fracking. The fracking industry is huge. This is a new way that they dig for oil. Fracking is how they dig horizontally for oil instead of going directly down. And so this is how they can get other oil reserves that they couldn't get by digging holes in the earth simultaneously. And so the fracking industry is huge. Brazil is saying that they need 87 million tons of sand. In Texas, in the Shale Basin, they do 115 million tons of sand for fracking. Do the math. Canada is also another major fracking customer that we can possibly get for our sand. The Middle East is now into fracking and they can't use their sand for it. Our sand is more perfect. Of course, for fracking, there's other sand that's better than ours just for fracking because it is more hard. But our sand is doable for fracking, and the Middle East needs this, y'all. The Middle East needs this. And so for a person who tell you that this is not possible, we're giving you the facts today. There's also the glass industry, the steel industry. They use millions and millions and millions of tons, billions of tons in the steel industry of sand. The construction industry has enormous thirst for sand. The silica industry. And countries have run out of sand. Many have stopped export, but guess who has it? You have it. So now let's talk about the Bahamas' supply of sand. The Bahamas has its very own supply of sand. According to Alison Myers, you saw it in our second documentary, Alison Myers from Calcine, she says that the Bahamas has 100 billion tons of renewable aragonite. That's just aragonite. That's not the sand. That's just aragonite. We have more sand than that. But that's what we feel is aragonite. 100 billion tons of aragonite alone, which is renewable. That is amazing. The previous Minister of Environment, Earl DeVoe, said that we could mine 5 billion tons of sand per year without adversely affecting the environment. 5 billion tons. We have made a determination that we're not going to mine that much. And so we've put a number on how much sand we are going to mine. We are looking to mine 1 billion tons of sand a year. We have more than enough customers who want this sand. And so we are going to mine 1 billion tons of sand / aragonite every single year. We spoke to a person from Bahamas Natural Resources Foundation, particularly Mr. Prescott Smith, and we asked him to give us an idea of some areas that we could mine that would not adversely affect the environment, where it would be safe to mine. And so he identified some areas that would be safe to mine. The first one that he identified is actually near to the tongue of the ocean, just west of Andros. And this area, there is nothing around it, and it would be easy to mine 1 billion tons of sand from there alone without even feeling it, without even it being noticeable from that area alone. He gave us a few other areas, one just south of Eleuthera, where he said the Defense Force ships used to sail across it, but now so much sand has accumulated there that you can't run the ships across it anymore because the sand is now coming out of the sea. That is how much sand we have in this country, my fellow Bahamians. And so he identified that area, and he identified another area just north of Andros where we could also take some sand. Any one of these areas can do it, particularly just south of Eleuthera and particularly near the tongue of the ocean, west of Andros, where he identified that it would be safe to do that and we would not feel it at all. And so we have the supply that the people, that countries need. We have the supply. We have more sand than Saudi Arabia has oil, and Saudi Arabia's oil reserves, known oil reserves, are worth $10 trillion. You see, many countries talk in these big numbers because it's normal to them. When we talk about these numbers, it sounds so amazing to us because we don't know our value and we don't know our worth. Tell a young Oprah Winfrey when she was young that she would be a billionaire, and she would tell you that you were crazy. I saw an interview with Bill Gates when he had started Microsoft, when they were getting going and he was doing well, making a lot of money. He said that no one could possibly use more than $10 million. That $10 million, you could never use more than that. He could never see himself as more than that amount of money. Now today he is worth billions and billions of dollars. He couldn't imagine it. And some of you are stuck in that same place, and we want to get you out of that today. And so we have the supply. So now that we know that we have the supply, let's talk about the numbers. Let's talk about the numbers. The numbers are simple and the numbers are clear. So, we have shown you in our documentaries that our aragonite is selling for up to $7,000 per ton. We showed you proof of this. You want to go back to that, go to our first documentary if you want to understand what we're seeing. Mostly it's sold for around $2,500 to $3,500 per ton. So that was the median, that was what most of it are sold for, and we showed you proof of that. You can go and prove that yourself now. Alright? But some have said that this is processed aragonite, and its processing is expensive. I don't understand where they got that from, because that is really not the case. Because the sand that we showed you that was selling for that amount was actually aquarium sand and play sand. That doesn't need any processing. It's not what they're putting in phones and cell phones and circuits. It's just they take it from under the ocean, they wash out the salt, and they make play sand. And they dump it on playgrounds all across the world. They dump it on different places all across the world. There's no processing to that. But it's selling for, in some cases, $3,900 per ton. $3,900. And they paid $2 per metric ton for it. We showed you proof of this. There's no processing involved with that. And there's a huge market for it. Let me put that in perspective for you. We will keep the number extremely conservative because we want to show you the numbers that we can make from our aragonite industry. Stay with me. Stick with me. This is going to change our lives forever. Please share this. It's important. We have to do this together. I'm going to keep the numbers extremely conservative, so we're not going to talk about thousands. We're not going to talk about 7,000, 5,000, 2,000, not even 1,000. We are going to estimate that on average we're going to make $200 per ton from our aragonite. Just $200 per ton. Some we're going to sell for $50 a ton. Some we're going to sell for more. And so we're going to average that. Let's say we be very conservative, just for the naysayers, and say that we can only make $200 per ton on average from our aragonite. Is that fair? Is that a fair conservative numbers based on what we found? We feel it is too low, but we're going to work with those numbers just to show you how serious this thing is. All right? Let me put it in perspective. Australia, this is not a big business for them. They sold 1.4 million tons to some of their neighbors. All right? 1.4 million tons of sand. All right? And that's between 2016 and 2017. Go and look it up. And they sold that, they said, at $554 million. They sold 1.4 million tons, and they sold it for $554 million. That is our whole customs budget. We don't even pay customs anymore. But look at the value of it. And this is on their government website. And they sold that for $400 per ton. So Australia sold their sand for $400 per ton. We are halving that to say that maybe ours isn't worth anything and we're not worth anything, so we're only going to sell it for $200 per ton. We're going half, and that is what they just sold just to pump on people's beaches, etc. $400 a ton. Okay? So let's say that we go half of it. Let's say that we go half. Here we go. If we go half and we sell 1 billion tons of sand, which we know we can do because there are countries that are hungry, they will provide the resources to come for it because they need it and they have the money. If we go half, that means that we make $200 billion per year just on our sand and aragonite. This is not touching our other natural resources. This is just our sand and aragonite. $200 billion conservatively, because we know there will be naysayers who can't think big. And so we want to put it way down, lower than what Australia does, lower than what everyone else does, lower than what we know it's worth. We want just $200 per metric ton, and we make $200 billion per year. Are you all listening to me? Our yearly budget is $2.5 billion. I hope you all are paying attention. Don't let them fool you. This is easily researchable. If we were to keep it at the $7,000 price, that's $7 trillion a year if we sell 1 billion tons of sand. If we put it at the 2,500 or 3,500 that it's selling for, that we can see on record on the internet right now that it's selling for, that is $2.5 to $3.5 trillion. Our sand is worth more than oil, Bahamas. We have to wake up and realize that we don't have to be poor. While y'all are collecting food stamps, we don't have to be poor. You have to stand up, Bahamas. And these numbers are easily verifiable. And so what are we going to do with this money that we make? So we put conservative numbers, $200 a ton, when we know we can make more. Okay, and we put an amount, we didn't go 5 billion like Earl DeVoe said, we went to 1 billion that we know we can do, and then we can keep it where our country isn't disadvantaged and our ecosystem isn't affected. So it's responsible. And we put it in areas where it won't affect our ecosystem. Responsible. Is that fair so far? I think it is. And so now, how will money be made from investing? Because when we make this $200 billion, we're not going to touch it. It's going to be invested. It's going to be invested in different things. And so what are we going to do with it? So this is what we're going to invest it in. So we're not going to touch the $200 billion. We're going to invest a part of it. Okay? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to touch some of it, but not the majority of it. All right? And we're only going to touch some of it because we need you to benefit now, today. Watch this. So pay close attention. Your job is to evangelize, which means to move the message. Eve, like evacuate, it means to move. Evacuate means to move out. Angel means messenger. You have to evangelize. You have to move the message. You have to talk about this. We can do this. Other countries have. We have to. Money made from the Sovereign Wealth Fund will be invested in the following: stocks and bonds, abroad, overseas. There's a reason we do that. All right, overseas, so that it doesn't affect our economy. All right. And it's going to grow between, the stock market grows a certain amount every single year. The stock market grows easily, all of the markets on a conservative level, 7 to 10%. What we've experienced is that in the last 10 years, the S&P 500, which we will be investing in, grew, in the last 10 years, it grew 16.799% between 2009 and 2019. That is how much it grew. 16.799. So we're going all the way conservative and saying, what if we only get a 10% return on that? Okay? So even though it's going 16+ percent, we're going to go conservative because people are afraid of these numbers. They're not used to thinking big. So we're going to put it all the way down. And we're going to say, what if we only get 10%? Why are we saying that? Because like we said, Norway made 20% on the money they invested in the markets last year. 20%. On that money alone. All right, so we're going to go all the way conservative and drop it to half of that. And let's say we invest that money and we only get 10% of it. So we'll tell you what else we're going to invest in, and then we're going to show you the numbers, right, and how it really works. All right, so the S&P 5, the stocks and bonds, we're going to invest it in real estate locally and abroad. There's going to be some amazing investments you're going to hear about in a minute. Be the change, y'all. And so business, we're going to invest in some businesses locally and abroad. Watch when you hear these businesses. It's time for change, y'all. It's time for innovative thinking. This is going to change the country forever. It's going to change your life forever. When you go to Dubai, those Dubai people are sitting around most of the day, and other foreigners come in to work for them. And they're sitting around thinking about their next big project and what they love. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine if we could be thinking about our next big project or what we're going to do with our life and doing what we love instead of thinking about how we're going to eat tomorrow, how we're going to pay the light bill? Can you imagine a change? The list change is here, y'all. You all have to accept it and you all have to make it happen. Or we can continue with the old way. It's totally up to you. All right, so we're going to spend, some of it will be invested in money and some of it will be invested in our annual budget. The annual budget with this new Bahamas will be $35.79 billion. So you could say $36 billion, so $35.79 billion. All right, so that's the sweet spot. That's where we want to get. And so we're going to be selling 1 billion tons of sand for $200 per ton, $200 per ton, and that's going to give us $2 billion a year. Now, focus, pay close attention. All right, so we're going to take that $35.97 billion and we're going to subtract our yearly budget, and I'll tell you what that budget is for in a minute, of $35.97 billion. That doesn't even touch us. We don't even break a sweat. All right, and that's going to leave us with $164.03 billion. All right, we're going to make 10% on that money, and it's going to increase to 180 billion. And so every year this is going to increase. So in year 1 we'll have 180 billion. By year 2 it's going to increase exponentially with another 10%, and we're going to have we're going to have 378 billion. So by year 2 we're going to have $378 billion. If we stop right there and not trade again, and not sell sand again, or not touch our natural resources again, we'll have enough to cover our entire budget just on the returns that we'll be making. The sweet spot where Norway is right now. Our sweet spot, because we're just a few people, maybe 400,000 the most, our sweet spot is $359 billion to cover our full budget. What you hear what we're going to do with this budget? It's going to blow your mind. It's time for a new Bahamas and a new way of thinking. By year 5, we'll play with it and say 2025, if we got it this year. By year 5, 2025, our sovereign wealth fund would have a total of $1.1 trillion. If we make the $200 billion every year, and we get 10% a year on top of that, cover all of our budget, we subtract it from it every year, and keep investing back in, we would do what Norway did, that took them 20 years to do, we will do in 5 years. Because sand is more valuable than oil, and we have a smaller amount of people. We will have $1.1 trillion in 5 years. That's the sweet spot, 2025. We will be able, at a conservative 10%, to not have to do any mining ever again. And we could just make money on investments and trading. And that's from one natural resource. That isn't any other natural resource. That's not the business that we're about to go into, that you're about to hear about. That's from one natural resource. It's time for a better Bahamas. What's missing is not money. What's missing is vision, y'all. That's what Walmart said. He said money isn't scarce, vision is. And so they've been keeping you back because they want to be the ones to benefit from this. They don't want you to benefit, but it's time for change. If you are with me, please share this. Make sure you talk to your children, your grandparents, your friends. Don't talk about anything else. This is a major opportunity for the Bahamas. And this is your chance to question me. If you feel anything is wrong, question me. And I challenge any talk show host that questions what I'm saying, bring me on and have a conversation with me. I challenge anyone in our government, anyone in the industry to a debate on this. And I will show them where this is doable and this is possible. This is very doable and very possible. And we are here, y'all. But y'all have to make it happen. It won't happen without y'all. So you have to decide if you want this to happen or not. Okay? And so here we go. Now, with this $200 billion a year, what are we going to be doing with it? That $35 billion that we're going to be investing into our economy, what's going to be happening with it, and we're going to be doing with it without touching the rest. That's for our future generations. What are we going to do with it? Well, pay close attention. This is the new Bahamas, y'all. So what are the benefits? Well, how are you going to benefit from this? So we've showed you numbers. We've shown you that there's the demand, We show you that there's scarcity, that is very needed, and we show you that we have the supply and that it won't hurt our ecosystem. Okay? And so now we're in a sweet spot. And so here we go. How are you going to benefit? These are the benefits that's going to take us from where we are to where other countries are, from developed nations to developing nations. All they did was put things in place to benefit their people, and as everyone became wealthy together, and it benefited the whole entire country to where recessions don't even affect them. Can you imagine a country with $1.4 trillion? How does a recession affect them? It doesn't. It doesn't move them. While we're in debt and struggling and having conversations about debt and being put in junk bond, they are $1.4 trillion in the green. So how are you going to benefit from this? What is the next Bahamas going to look like, and how are we going to take these funds to make the next Bahamas? This is the most important part. This is the one you want to share. Okay? So here we go. All right. So one. The first thing we're going to do in the new Bahamas is we're going to remove all personal taxes. All personal taxes will be removed, just as is done in all of these countries that we have mentioned, in Norway, in Dubai, in the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Kuwait, etc. They have no personal taxes. Why do you need to tax the people if you have the money? If the country has made their money, there's no personal taxes. So that is the first thing we're going to do. Now we're going to show you the numbers for these stuff. And so there's no personal taxes. Why? Because we've covered our $2.5 million in our $35 billion budget. All right, it's covered. So there's no reason to charge us taxes. So other countries have done it, so we're not reinventing the wheel. This is doable. Okay? There will be no personal custom duties. So you as a person will not pay customs duties anymore. All right? And there will be no property taxes for you as a person. No property taxes. So no taxes whatsoever for any individual. Only businesses will be taxed. All right? So no personal taxes at all for you as a person. So taxes are a thing of the past for you. All right? The next thing that we're going to do with this budget is free national health care. Free national health care. And so we wanted to figure out what was the numbers that we need to cover free national health care. For two administrations now, they were arguing about if we have enough money, and they were crying, and I mean, they were talking about we don't have enough money to give health care. We know we should do it. All the other countries are doing it. The European Union is doing it. Canada has done it. America was going in that direction with Obamacare. But can we get the money? While they knew that money could be made with our natural resources, and they were pretending not to know. But now it's going to happen. And so free national health care. All right? So Perry Gomez, the previous Minister of Health, had said that it would cost $235 million to get national health insurance. Dwayne Sand said it would cost more like $750 million. And CFAL said that they think that it will cost about $700 million in order to get free national health care. All right, we're going with CFAL's number. We believe that. And so we have budgeted $700 million. And with that alone, you will be able to cover every single Bahamian for every single situation that they may be in. If Grammy needs a heart transplant, if someone has cancer and they can't afford, they will be able to afford it because we will cover it now. The state covers all your health care. And this is happening right now in countries like Qatar, Dubai, etc. You don't have cookouts, you don't have these things. It's covered. This is what can be done. All right? And so this is not pie in the sky. It's already being done. So every single Bahamian with a passport will be covered. All right? And so we're going to move on to electricity. And so free electricity. There will be no charge for electricity anymore. All of these countries that I mentioned to you again, they did the same thing. They, from their income, the Sovereign Wealth Fund, they're able to cover free electricity. So how are we able to do it in the Bahamas? We're showing you numbers now. So we gave you $700 million for health. And so now for free electricity, here is what it is. So for right now, our electricity cost, BEC's cost or BPL's cost is $480 million per year. According to them, they said $40 million a month. All right, which 30 million of it is actually goes to fuel. Wow, we're going to eliminate that. But $480 million per year is what they spend. So we took $500 million and put it in the budget just to cover all of BEC's expenses. But we're going to find a way to wipe that out. So it isn't so expensive. The only reason that it is so expensive right now is because of corruption. because of who's able to get the contract. So they get these old generators because generator parts have to be bought, and someone is going to get the contract to get these generator parts because the generator will keep breaking down. And they also have arrangements as it relates to the oil. And so, like I said, and like we've shown you, these arrangements are made overseas. They're not made here. You're not going to see them. These arrangements are made overseas. So we have to be very careful with that. It's time for us to open our eyes. They're not going to pull the wool over this generation of Bahamians. And so we're going to restructure the entire and replace the entire distribution system. So all of these lines, it was determined. I spoke to the person who actually, in the United States, who actually did an assessment of our entire power grid for BEC, which is called at the time, in order to determine what needs to be done to fix their problems. One of the problems that they were told that they have is that there's a lot of wastage. About 50% of the energy is lost on the way to your house, through these lines, through these poor power lines and through other means. We're going to revamp that, and we're going to put it underground also. And so we're going to revamp the whole thing and put it underground. All right? And so it's vision. This can be done, but there are some people who don't want it done because they're benefiting from it. But in the New Bahamas, you benefit, not those people. And so let's continue. All right, we are going to solarize the entire system. We are going to add solar fields to the entire system. And how are we going to pay for this? How are we going to afford it? We won't touch that $200 billion to do it. We are going to get our entire electricity system solarized, because we are small, solarized for free. Absolutely free. I know I sound like Donald Trump when he said he's going to build a wall and the Mexicans are going to pay for it, but I'm telling you right now, I'm going to show you proof of how we can get our entire system solarized and not pay $1. And you're going to be able to go and verify this yourself through Google or whatever source you have or whoever you want to talk to. There are countries that got their electricity companies solarized without paying $1. Why we won't do it? Corruption. And so we won't pay $1 because it's going to be paid for through carbon credits. That is how it's going to be paid. We're going to show you that in a minute. Stay tuned. You don't want to miss that. We don't have to be paying any electricity bill. Even right now, without going to our natural resource and sovereign wealth fund, that can be done. That can be done today, right now, without even the sovereign wealth fund. We can get our entire electricity grid paid for on solar, so they don't have that $30 million a month expense. All right, we can get that whole thing done, and there's no parts because solar there's no parts, there's no engines that's going to break down. We can get all of that done for you today. Pay close attention. This can be done. The only thing missing is vision, y'all. And so we're going to do this through two ways. We're going to build solar fields. Where do we have the space for these solar fields? We have a lot of space. We have space south of the airport. We still have space on Glasson Road. We have space in order to put solar fields. There are even areas of the sea that you can put solar fields in. There's a whole lake that we are wasting that we can put solar fields in. They put solar fields on water now. So we're going to build solar fields in order to do that. All right. Also, we are going to install solar panels on persons' homes. Persons are going to volunteer to have solar panels on their homes, and they're going to make money because through net metering, some of the power is going to go back to the grid. And so the hotels, Bahama, Atlantis, any hotels that we have, they're now going to be, we're now going to be reselling to these businesses. And so the person who owns the home is going to get a check at the end of the month just because they put solar panels on their home. So do we have enough space for solar panels? Yes, we do. We have a lot of homes. We have about 100,000 buildings that we could put solar panels on. So if you have an apartment building, you can put solar panels on that. You get electricity from that, and you also feed back into the grid, and you get free electricity fed back into the grid. What's missing is vision, not money. All right, and so that's how it's going to be done. All right, so we'll get to more of that in a minute. Please share this. This is very important. All right. On top of that, we're going to a new system that you see in the deserts. Every single building in the desert has air conditioning because it gets too hot. It's unbearable. You can't even come outside when the summer's reached. And every home has air conditioning. How do they do that? There's a new system. Well, not really new, but there's a system called district cooling. There's district cooling systems. And through the district cooling system, we're going to get that at zero cost. Why? The carbon credits are going to pay for it. We'll show you how in a minute. We're going to get our district cooling system. And what does that mean to have a district cooling system? That means that they pump air conditioning from a district cooling system into everyone's home. They create a cooling system that's made from making ice water and pumping it into a system and into your homes, and it blows through the fans, it blows the cool air into your house, and it's just like air conditions. How does the air condition work? The same way. Freon is cold, so it blows the wind past the Freon and makes it cold, and it blows into your house. And so the district cooling systems do the same thing. They come from a general system and goes directly underground into your house. This is happening in Qatar right now as we speak. It's happening in Dubai. It's happening in all of these countries. They don't pay for air conditioning. And so every single home in the Bahamas will have air conditioning. Someone say hallelujah. I will preach on this now. We get back to to the speech. All right? Because I just felt that cool breeze blow over me just now. Someone is sitting down in the heat right now, and they just felt that cool breeze as I said that. And so every single home, they do it in the desert. So we can do it here. We're not as big as they are. We are very small, and it's called a district cooling system. And so what the district cooling system does is going to get air conditioning to all of your homes, so it's going to reduce your costs. And so they save on building in the desert because they don't have to pay for air conditioning system. They don't have to put in central air, etc. So that cuts down their cost of building by 10%. Even those skyscrapers, that cuts down the cost. All those skyscrapers you see when you look, they have the district cooling system. The air comes from one place. Okay? And so the district cooling system is going to reduce the load on the grid, because most of y'all, you know, when you turn on the AC, that's where most of your electricity bill is. It reduces the load on the grid by 50%. So now we don't need as much power. So BC needs 300 megabytes to operate. Now we only need 150. So we don't even need as much solar panels. Everything is being reduced. Do you see how this thing works? It's vision, y'all. It's time for the new Bahamas. And so it reduces the load on the system by 50%. Y'all share this. Make sure your friends watching this, call them on the phone right now and say, hey girl, you watching this? We need to watch this because it's time for the new Bahamas, man. What I'm telling you is not dreams. What I'm telling you is being done right now in other countries. We're not reinventing the wheel. This is being done. This is nothing impossible. This is not Lincoln telling you something that cannot happen. Everything I'm saying is being done. That's why we're showing it to you on the screen while I'm speaking. It's being done right now. And so the service is also going to be sold to hotels. So now they don't have to worry about the cost of air conditioning, etc. Their electricity bill is going to go down. But we're going to pump the district cooling system into Atlantis, into Bahama, into these hotels. And it's going to reduce the cost of electricity nationwide. The investors are going to love it. And so it's going to be great for them. And so they're going to invest more. All right? And so it's called the district cooling system. Let's keep going. I know this is taking some time, but this is very important. This is the new Bahamas, y'all. All right? And so here we go. The district cooling system and the new solar product, the new solar production is going to be paid for by carbon credits. And it's going to reduce the cost of producing electricity to the point where it's low or negligible. To where, remember, BC says their cost is $40 million a month. 30 million of that is just oil. We just threw that out the window. So their cost is only 10 million after that. And we're going to reduce most of that cost because now the cost of parts is going out the window. The cost of servicing those generators is going out the window. The only cost you're going to really have, for the most part, is going to be salaries for persons who maintain this thing. And it's going to be mostly foreigners coming into work because our Bahamians are going to be good. They're going to be opening businesses. And so it's just going to be the salaries of the foreigners that come in to work for us. Wow. The only thing missing is vision. I'm going to move on. The fourth thing that you're going to get from our Sovereign Wealth Fund, pay close attention, there's nothing else on TV or anywhere else right now that's more important than what you're hearing right now. The fourth thing that you're going to get from our Sovereign Wealth Fund is free internet. You're going to get free internet, Wi-Fi, and data. You're going to get free Wi-Fi and free data. Free internet and free data. Yes, I said that. How is that possible? Why would we do that? We budgeted $100 million for that. All right, so $100 million is covered in that budget that we said. $100 million is budgeted for that. All right, and so that isn't even a lot of money. All right, the UN has declared that broadband is a human right. In 2011, the UN declared that broadband is a human right. And so we're going to take that to the next level by saying that you have a right to have internet, because we're moving to a new connected society that you're going to hear about in a minute. We're moving to a new connected society. And so you're going to be connected to the internet at all times, either through your Wi-Fi at home or through your device that you're going to be able to carry around, your cell phone, etc. You are going to be completely connected. We budgeted, we could do this for $100 million per year, and that is without starting a new system. That's by paying. We have some options. So one of those options is to pay the existing companies. We're going to let them bid for it. We're going to let them bid and say that we're going to pay a stipend for every single passport carrying Bahamian, and we're gonna give them free internet in their homes, and we're gonna give them free internet data to their phones, and that's what we're gonna pay for, because it's a human right, because we're moving to the new digital Bahamas that you're gonna hear about in a minute, and we're gonna let them bid for it, and they're gonna accept it. They have to. They're gonna accept it, and we're gonna work with them. So they'll still make money from selling internet to businesses, cell phones, etc. But personal, you're not going to pay a thing for internet anymore. We got that covered for you through our Sovereign Wealth Fund. Vision, y'all, all right? And so it's going to go to the lowest bidder, and we're going to use the existing network initially, because all of them are on the same network. And that's why when everyone was on lockdown and everyone was at home, you saw the problems that happened. Everyone is on BTC's network. Everyone is on BTC's network, and that's why. So even though you're with a different company, it's still one network, and so that's why we're having these problems. All right, but it doesn't take much to add another network, which we will look into at a later date. All right, and so we'll explain this some more later. The next thing that you will get from this budget that you're able to get is free water. This is already happening in some of these countries that we're talking about. You're going to get free water. You're going to get free water that you could drink from the tap. Remember when y'all who live in Freeport used to drink from the tap? Remember those days? Well, you're going to get free water. You're going to get free water across this country that you could drink. It's so pure that you could drink from the tap. This is happening in other countries right now. Why not here? It's doable. It is possible. The numbers for that, and I hope you're taking notes, or go back and look at the numbers. We're giving numbers so people can question us. The numbers for that is $70 million. $70 million that we budgeted to be able to cover water in our entire system. All right, and so we budgeted that because water and sewage expenses that they released in 2015 was $67 million. So we budgeted $70 million in order to make this happen. Those foreigners that have water contracts, their days are numbered. They're going to be removed from this country. All right, and so that is going to be something that Bahamians, that our system is going to offer, and we should not be buying water to resell to the Bahamian people. And if we're going to do that, that should be drinkable water from the tap, like they do in many countries. You drink bottled water if you want to drink bottled water in some countries, all right? And so that is what we're going to do. And so we're giving advance warning to you now. Don't say you didn't know or say that we drop it on you. We're telling you now that those foreign companies that have those contracts, we're going to eliminate them. We will not be buying water to sell water to our people, all right? That is out of order. Water is a human right. The sixth thing that we are talking about, the sixth thing that we're going to offer in this is free education. Free education. Education is a human right. When my father was growing up, you had to come out of school in grade 6, in 6th grade. All right? In my generation, they took it up to high school. But now you're going to get free education, full free education, up to a doctorate degree. And so you're going to get education from both local and international universities. Wait until you hear this plan. In a minute, you're going to hear it when we break it down. Local and international universities are going to have free education from daycare to PhD. There are many single mothers who have hell trying to find someone to keep their child. Trying to find someone to keep their child while they go to work, while they go on a job interview. No, daycare is going to be free from now on. It's going to be free, including night care. Because there are people that work for us. There are essential workers that work for us, and they don't have anyone to keep their children or anyone they trust to keep their children. So if they want, the option should be there. Police officers, hotel workers, etc. should have a safe place, a safe, homely place to keep their children, and we're going to do it for them. We're going to make sure that this happens. all right, in one of several ways. Facilities that can do it, and causing businesses to have certain facilities to make sure that it is possible. All right, this is doable. Someone say vision. That's all we need. All right, and so let's talk about our checks now. Let's talk about our checks. What about our checks? Let's talk about this money, y'all. How are we going to get this money? And let's talk about this $100,000 that someone said is impossible for us to get. I hope you're sharing this, because now we're going to talk money. All right, we talk about the benefits, but now let's talk about the cash. Let's talk about the money that you're getting. So all of the benefits I just told you could change your life. If you imagine you don't have to pay electricity anymore and all these bills that cause you to go broke and healthcare and that kind of stuff, that's good. But now it's time to put money in your pocket. Like we said, there are sovereign wealth funds that don't give you money, but that's why they have a lot of money in theirs. But why shouldn't we give to our people? There's not millions of us. There's not even a million of us. There's only a certain amount of us, and so that's who we're going to give to. All right? And so here we go. Every single adult will get $100,000 per year. $100,000 per year. And so we showed you that we have a budget for that. And so how do we do that? We are looking at 300,000 passport-carrying Bahamians. You must have a passport. We can tell you the policies at the end of this. We can tell you the parameters. 300,000 passport-carrying Bahamians is with adults that we estimate. All right, and we estimate 100,000 children, but 300,000 passport-carrying Bahamians from the age of 21 and up, and we'll explain that to you. From the age of 21 and up, we have budgeted for. All right. And so, sorry, it starts at 22. Just remind you, I'm sorry. It starts at the age of 22 and up is when you're going to be getting that. We're going to tell you why. You're going to love this. Trust me, you'll be glad you're getting that at 22. All right, so from the age of 22 and up, we budgeted for 300,000 Bahamians to get $100,000. And so if each of them get $100,000, that's $30 billion. You see why our budget is $35 billion? $35 billion is our budget. So now you can see that most of that is just making sure we get our check. All of the other stuff is very doable. We can almost do that now without any of this. We can do this. All right? And so 30 billion of it is going to go to checks that go to our Bahamians. All right? And can we make it? With our Aragonite alone, that is nothing to do. I've shown you the numbers. It's time for vision. All right? There are people making billions of dollars off of our natural resources for years. It's time for us to get it. We can get it, and we're going to get it. We have to stand up, Bahamas. We have to demand this. And guess what? The people who might fight against us, they're going to benefit from this too. Politicians, members of parliament, why would you fight against this? You're going to benefit from this too. Your children, your generations that you're fighting for and making the corrupt deals because you're looking out for them, that money you're making is going to go to naught. They're not going to enjoy that because it's corrupt money. We can do this the right way. And your people can benefit. Your children can benefit. Come on board. Stand with us. Join us because this is possible. So you now see that it's possible for every Bahamian to get $100,000 a year. If you challenge me, or anyone challenges me, then do a debate with me and we'll break it down. Next, every single child is going to receive $1 million at the age of 21. And that's why the 100,000 starts at 22. We budgeted for this, y'all. We did the numbers. Every single child is going to receive $1 million at the age of 21. Jesus Lord, how is this possible? You all hear what I just said? I did not stammer. I'm serious with this. You all pay close attention. We did the numbers. This is doable right now. Or you can go back to shaking pom-poms and wearing your t-shirts in different colors, and they'll put $50 in that t-shirt, and you could take that $50 every 5 years and you're good to go. Or we can walk into the new Bahamas. Are you ready to walk into the new Bahamas? Because it's doable. We have the natural resources to do it. We've shown you the numbers. So at every child, when they are born, every child, we're going to open a bank account for them. This is how it's done. When your child is born, we're going to open a bank account for them. All right? And so what we're going to do is that every year, from their born, from year one, we put in $20,000. Every year, we're going to put in $20,000 for them, and it's going to go into like an endowment fund that's going to be traded and get interest. It's going to be traded, and you're going to get interest on the trade. All right? And so if we get gains of 10%, which is what we're aiming for, 10%, a gains of 10%, by the time as they reach the age of 21 years old, they are going to get $1 million. The majority of that is going to be from the interest of the money that is traded, just like what Norway and these other countries do. Let me tell you how, break it down for you some more, how it works. Let me tell you some rules first. So we're going to put $20,000. So after 21 years, that's going to be worth $420,000. But the interest that they make on it, see, you're struggling to pay interest to the bank on your bank account. Now you're going to be getting interest from your bond. The borrower is slave to the lender, but now we're going to be the ones getting the interest from your bond because of our birthright. And so the rest of it is interest. I'm going to break it down for you in a minute. And so in order to get these funds, it's $1 million. I'll break it down a little bit more in a second. In order to get these funds, there are some courses you must pass in school. You're not just going to give a 21-year-old $1 million unless they qualify. All right? And so there's going to be some courses that are now going to be offered in school. All right? The courses are as follows. You're going to have to pass a business course in school. We're going to teach business in schools. Why don't they teach business in school? We're going to have to pass a trading course to learn about trading and stocks, etc. And you're going to have to pass a financial management, a money management course in school. All right? You're going to have to pass these three things. This is going to be offered in school now. I don't understand why don't the teachers, they teach you about all these other things that you may never use in real life. But if you want to be a doctor and you open your office, that's business. If you want to be a lawyer and you open off, that's business. If you want to learn to sew, that's business. If you want to have your sewing business. Anything you do, business is the most important thing that you can learn. And so we're going to teach our young people business from there in school. This is a must pass like English and maths. That's what this is. It's an important part of it and it's a must pass. And so if you want to get this jump start, which is $1 million when you reach 21, you're going to have to pass this. Now, you have until, so it's a mandatory course in school, you have until the age of 21 to pass this. So you can take it out of school also. You can do the course out of school and you can pass it. And every single Bahamian, when you reach the age of 21, adulthood, real adulthood, you become a millionaire. We can do this for our children. We can do this for our future generations. We can do this for our now generation. All right? Now, in addition to having to pass this course, every young person must graduate from school with a bachelor's degree. Your education will be free. But we want an educated Bahamas. We're not going to put $1 million in your hand. You must go to school, which will be free, up to PhD. Anywhere you want to go to school in the world, it will be free, up to a PhD. But you must graduate with at least a bachelor's degree. So that when you become 21, you graduate at 17, you got your 4 years to get your bachelor's degree. So you have to pass those courses, the school course level courses, and you must get your bachelor's degree. All right? And once you get that, you qualify to get your $1 million. We want an educated Bahamas. We want the next Bahamas. Barbados invested in education. They made education free for their people. And now you see what is happening. Our banks are going there because it's so easy to find educated persons in Barbados. So it's easy to hire people. I opened business in Barbados when I was young, in my early 20s. I opened a business in Barbados. And everyone was educated. Everyone had degrees. It was hard to choose because everyone was so educated. Because that is what they did. Ireland did the same thing. Now companies like Google and all these other companies are moving there because they can find educated people easily. Now the same thing will happen here because we have a race of educated people, and now we have a group of people that will be able to not only have the wealth, but be educated to use the wealth. This can be done. Special consideration will be made in the form of trusts and trusts that can be done on their behalf for children with learning disabilities. And so once a doctor declares that they have a learning disabilities, they will not have to pass this criteria, but no one will be able to take advantage of their money. We will put their money in a trust for them, all right, so that they are able to still have these benefits even though they have a learning disability, all right. And so from the fund, which is from this fund alone, so the fund is for 100,000 children. And it's $20,000 we're going to put in a year, so that $20,000 in 21 years is $420,000. but the fund will actually make $1.4 million. It will make more than the $1 million that we're giving them. So it's going to cause a surplus. And so when that child is finished and when they reach the maturity, that fund is actually going to have an extra $400,000 roughly. And so we're going to take that and put that back in the pot. And so it helps to get the other children there quicker. And so this fund alone, upon the maturity of this 100,000 people, is going to generate another $40 billion of trade alone that goes back into the Sovereign Wealth Fund and pays for our future generation. This is the fund just for our kids, just for our children's future. Money is not scarce, vision is. It's time for us to think about the future and to think about the now. All right? And so, number 9. The number 9 benefit that you're going to get. We're paying for your funerals. This is already done. These other countries that are doing it with their natural resources, you don't pay for funerals. We will cover your funeral. And so you don't have to worry about, having to wait a month to bury your loved one because you don't have the money. Those days are over. The state will pay the cost, whatever it takes. All right? You pay for your own repast. We ain't paying for that. But we pay all the expenses for the funeral. All right? And so we're going to give you up to $10,000 for a funeral. And we will reassess that. If funerals get more expensive and it's $15,000, then we'll pay $15,000 for a funeral. All of this is covered in the budget already. All right? Number 10. Bahamian entrepreneurs will receive $5 million to start a business. This is not a loan. This is a grant. Bahamian entrepreneurs, if you have a business and a business plan, we will give you on top of that $5 million to start a business. This $5,000 thing that I see them doing, that is not reasonable. That's just to say that they're giving you something, but you're not able to compete with the real people who have the money. So it's just some milk money that they're giving you to say that they're doing something. They're saying, oh, we're going to give $50 million a year. And that's $5,000 a person. Like, seriously? To open a business? What's that? First, last, and security for the rent? No, we're going to help you open a real business. Why? Because the state is not going to cost us anything to do it because we're going to get it back in taxes. That's why the government justifies giving money to the hotels. They give them concessions because as far as they're concerned, they're going to make it back in taxes. So do you know that they pay these hotels $8 million a year just for advertising costs? Just for advertisement? Those ads that you see of Atlantis on CNN, the government pays for that. $8 million a year. They're giving our money. They are giving benefits to foreigners instead of giving it to us. We have the money, and so because they gave it to one company, they have to give it to the other, so they have to give it to the Bahama too. Do you see what's going on? The benefits are there even right now, even before we're benefiting from natural resources, but it's just not benefiting us. This can happen, y'all. It's time for the new Bahamas. I hope y'all ready for this. You got to fight for this. You got to fight with me on this. If you want this, I cannot do this alone. We cannot do this alone. Every Bahamian has to stand up. Yes, that is what they're doing. All right? And so we're going to give $5 million to everyone who wants to start a business, and we're going to give you land. We're going to lease the land to you so you could be able to do this business. Yeah, I said lease the land to you. The land stays with the Sovereign Wealth Fund. Now, once you showed us that you are doing what you're supposed to do with this land, then at the end of the lease, which is most likely going to be 5 years, then we'll be able to turn the land over to you. We're not going to give you the land like has been done before. They'll give a pastor land to build church, then he builds a subdivision on it. That is wrong. On our crown land. All right? So that is not going to happen going forward. So we lease it to you first, give you the money to do your business, so you don't have to go to the bank to get a loan. And and of course, we will give you the land after the end of the lease once you've shown that you've done what you've promised to do. All right? The next benefit that you have is that we're going to be building smart communities. You're going to hear a little bit about this in a minute. We're going to be building smart communities. That's going to blow your mind. And every single Bahamian will be paid $2,000 per month just for living in these smart homes. We're going to explain that to you in a minute. So just for living in these homes, just for living there, instead of you paying a rent, you're going to be paid to live in these homes. This is happening around the world right now. Similar stuff in Dubai, they have what they call a green city. You're looking at it right now, where they give you amenities just for living in these homes. You don't pay for certain things. They even give you money to buy an electric car. They give you money to buy an electric car. They give you these things. All right? There's a reason that they can do this. And so you're gonna understand this in a minute. So just wait for me, and we're gonna show you. It's time for the new Bahamas. Someone say vision. If you believe in this, just type vision. Type vision in there. Vision. All right. And so everything that I'm saying to you is already being done. Everything. But they didn't want you to know this. They didn't want you to know how you could benefit from what belongs to you. They wanted you to think that you must be poor so you could depend on them every 5 years. It's time for the new Bahamas. Vision 2025. Vision 2025. All right? So, what we are instituting is the green economy. This is the new green economy. This is something different. This is something new. We are shifting our focus, and we are developing a green economy that we can benefit from. We are one of the countries that's going to be most affected by global warming. And so our water levels are going to rise. And so we need a green economy. The green economy is going to be based on aragonite. So we already talked about how much money we can make mining aragonite. And that's from mining it and selling it. But did you know that we can make some other money from that same aragonite without even selling the aragonite? When we sell it, we're going to make money because we sold it. So we're going to make money from the $200 a ton, which we know we're going to get more than that. But we're going to make money from the $200 a ton, and then we're going to make more money because we sold that 1 billion tons. We're going to make money for that. How are we going to make money for that? We're going to make money from the sale of the carbon credits. Because aragonite is renewable, anything you do that's renewable, I'm going to explain carbon credits in a minute, but anything that you do that is renewable, you make money for, you get carbon credits for, that you can sell. I'll explain it in a minute. This is going to blow your mind. So we're going to make money twice from selling the aragonites, y'all. Twice. One signature, and this is done. Twice. Money isn't scarce. Vision is. Here we go. So we're going to, of course, our aragonite and our sand is important. And so we're going to use satellite monitoring and other security means. We're going to ramp up our security with our defense force, etc., because we have to defend our sand and aragonite. We have to use satellite means and other defense force. We got the money now. And so we're going to take care.
Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to thank all of you for tuning in. How do you feel so far? We have shown you an example of one of our natural resources, the customers and how we will make money from it, the need that is out there in the market. We've shown you how we're going to make money from this, and all of our numbers and estimate we put way down just for the naysayers and just for people who cannot handle seeing big numbers. That's half of it. On Sunday, we're going to show you the businesses we're going to go into. We're going to show you how we're going to transform the industries, how we're going to transform tourism, transform electricity, what we're going to exactly do with these funds. Let's discuss it. Ladies and gentlemen, that's half of it. The rest is coming this Sunday. You know, I don't want to get moving forward pulled into these conversations with politics and politicians who want to talk about each other. I don't have time for that. We have to prepare for the next Bahamas. I don't have time to go back and forth with trolls. I don't have time to go back and forth with talking about who is good and who is bad. I don't care about that. Right now, I am possessed with the new Bahamas. It is in me. Right now, I am pregnant with the new Bahamas. And it will come forth. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open up the phone lines so that you could be a part of this conversation. You can tell me what you think. You can tell me if you think it's possible. You may have a question. There might be something that you need cleared up. You might be a family member sitting with you and they might have a question. We head on to those questions. As you can see, this is in me. This is not something I have to read. It's not something I have to study. I'm not watching a teleprompter and leaning side to side and speaking very slowly as I try to get this out. This is in me. And this will come forward. We will transform this Bahamas. And so I'm going to open the phone lines for you right now. They've already started calling. It's very sad recording. I'm trying. Okay, if you can put the number up there. In the meantime, I'm going to answer the phone lines. Good afternoon and welcome to the New Bahamas.
Yes, sir. Calling on the show. Yeah,
Yes.
the same thing you was talking about with the air conditioning thing. You know, they had that over here before in the Crystal Palace Hotel. It's one of those hotels.
Wow.
They had the pipes run across the street. They had a
Yes.
building in the back where the police station used to be, and they had a big air conditioning unit there. And they had the pipes run across the street into the Crystal Palace Hotel before they broke it down. So that is something I know can be done because
Yes.
it's been done here, but a lot of people don't know that. And the water system thing, what you're talking about, that is possible. A lot of people don't know Andros has a river. A
Wow.
lot of people don't know it. Andros has a river that naturally, a lot of people think a river just flow down a mountain and a valley. No, it's a natural spring that comes up and flows to the ocean continuously. It's been there. A lot of people don't know it. Andros has a fresh deep water river. Remember the barges go to Andros to get fresh water?
Yes.
Right, so all these things are sustainable, but like you said, money is not the problem, it's vision. It seems like these, and I hate to say it, these old PLP and F&M recycled politicians, they, their time is finished. This is a time to take the Bahamas into a new level. It's like so Lyndon brought us out of Egypt, and we've been wandering in the wilderness for the last 49 years. It's time to go into the new direction that is country right now. I've been thinking about it from I was in my early 20s. Why we can't do this? Or why we can't do that? But how it seems to me is like this. It's like this system is set up here in the Bahamas to create a cookie cutter system of servanthood. That's all.
Wow.
No teacher in school ever taught me. You know that's what they say in school? Boy, if you want to get a good job, you better get a...
Yes, they taught you to be a slave.
They never taught you about an entrepreneur. Not one. And I had some good teachers, but not one ever said to me to become an entrepreneur, business person. But Mr. Ben, keep it up. And I'm looking forward and to see why all day. I voted for you all again this time.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
All right.
All right. We're going to go to the next line. Good afternoon. You're live. Good night.
Hey, everyone. I just wanted to send a message out to our current administration. Not have the voices of this generation anymore. Their generation has aged with them. We feel like it is time for them to pass the baton on to the voices of change.
Yes.
To the voices that will speak progress into existence. Our country needs to move forward. We need to start creating legacies for our children and our children's children. So, again, I would like to encourage all Bahamians to get involved about the business and affairs of the country, get yourself educated, become empowered. And Mr. Bean is working so hard to empower Bahamians so that governments can no longer take advantage of the Bahamian people. Great live tonight, Mr. Bean. Thank you for taking the call.
Thank you. Appreciate it. You can call us in live at 803-5995. If you have questions, your family members have questions. If you've ever heard something your family member and have an answer for it, this is your chance. I have a question for them. Good afternoon. You're live.
Good evening. How are you?
I am awesome. How are you?
That's good. I'm good, thank you. I don't know why you're not in the Prime Minister's seat as yet. You have to get there.
Well, we have to get there together. We got to make this happen.
Yes. I'm really excited about your vision. Brave David's vision it has a lot to try and catch up to you. He wants everybody to pull together to create a better Bahamas over the next 50 years. That is long. I'm not sure what he wants to do within 50 years. His top 5 priorities are education.
Mm-hmm.
We have a D average. So I'm afraid to see what that's about. You know, a D average, he's failed.
Yes.
Economy, poverty is overwhelming in this Bahamas. So that's another fail.
Yes.
Environment, we have trees being burnt. That's causing severe health issues. Also, a very toxic water table. So that's a fail.
Wow.
Culture and social identity. As it stands, we have no identity because we have others that are being placed ahead of us in every aspect of our lives here in the Bahamas. He also has where he wants affordable health care.
Mm-hmm.
It appears that he has made it very inexpensive because he has allocated $10 million for catastrophic health care. So if 400,000 persons needed money from this $10 million, they would get $25 to go towards catastrophic health care. So I'm not sure where they're going to provide that. And if 10,000 persons needed assistance from that, they would get $1,000. So I'm not sure who helped him with his numbers.
Wow.
They are still playing on words, and many are sadly still following them with the play on words. These people really do not care about our well-being.
Yes.
And the Bahamian people have to get to a point where their eyes are open. It's not about PLP, F&M. It's about the Bahamian survival. We have so many issues right now that are not in the favor of Bahamians. And so people need to start standing up because they're playing with us continuously.
Wow. Wow.
So that's my 5 cents.
Thank you for your call. We really appreciate it.
Alrighty, you take care.
All right, you too. 803-5995 is the number. 803-5995 is the phone number. You can call in live now. 803-5995. So listen, as I said during that presentation, vision isn't scarce, money is. We don't lack money, we lack vision. It's a problem. Good afternoon, you're live.
How you doing, sir?
I'm awesome. How you doing?
How you doing, Mr. Ben?
Awesome, man.
This is Mr. Angel, independent candidate for guidance.
Hey, Mr. Angel. Good to hear from you.
Listen, man, I want to say sorry. I want to see how we could formulate, like I tell a lot of your supporters who I speak with on a daily basis. And I must say thank you to your supporters who continue to support my fencing business. I do own a chain link fencing business. I did some work for your kingdom. Like I said to your supporters, I'm much in support of Bahamian success and winning with behalf.
Yes.
But as a young man, 40, I must also be aware of our influences on the youths.
Yes.
And what we do, sometimes if it doesn't line up with what we say, what we do has the great impact on what our youths tend to do at the end of the day. I said to your supporters that for me, it's more logical for me to stand with Mr. Bain in front of the PM office and to give Mr. PM an ultimatum either give the people access to Crown land or we have them removed from office and have you put in office so we can access the Crown land. Is that your mandate? And I believe that is what you're pushing for Bahamians to access the Crown land. As I said to your supporters, the way forward as it is currently, I am not in support because I am a family man. I run a self-employed business and I have 3 children and a wife. Mm-hmm. Even though I may, as radical as I may appear to be in the public eye, I am a man of sense and of God-fearing nature. Mm-hmm. And so even though the Haitians, which I do not agree with, and I continue to cry and say to my Haitian people to go back and help Haiti. And if they want land to do it just like the Bahamians do it, advocate with us, ensure that we get what is asked for it, and we'll make sure that there's enough for everyone to get at the end of the day. But the Bahamians has to eat twice.
Yes.
And that's just the nature of the day. And so I just want you to be encouraged and to know that even though that we may be on two separate coins, there are times when we see them as allies or at times as adversaries, to know that my personal push is always with the Bahamian people at my heart.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
The poor and the rich. And so I don't want to leave nobody out. COI, PLP, FNL. I
All
want
right.
them knowing that we have to work together.
Thank you. And thank you for your call.
Yes, sir.
All right. Appreciate it. I have no adversary who is an organic Bahamian. All of the organic Bahamians I am fighting for, even the ones who may be a part of other political parties, I am fighting for them too. We are fighting for all of them. Even while they may cuss us and fight us down and lie on us and do whatever, we are fighting for them also. We are fighting for them and their children. We are fighting for all Bahamians because we know and understand that while they are fighting for their party, that one day we will transform this country and they will come back to us and they will say, thank God Lincoln didn't listen to us. And thank God the people didn't listen to us while we were fighting to empower politicians instead of fighting to empower our people. Go to the phone lines. Welcome, you're live.
Wow, I finally got through. So, Mr. Bain, thank you so much for educating us and giving us Vision 25, you and the coalition. The one thing I wanted you to expand on was the 100K.
Mm-hmm.
And the very concept of the 100K, a lot of people think it's not economically or fiscally feasible
Mm-hmm.
or possible for 100K because they don't understand how economics works. So I want you to expand for the benefit of everyone listening and even the trolls on how 100K will not negatively impact the Bahamian economy.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people are running around with fear-mongering and saying 100K will cost a roll of toilet tissue to be $1,000. And that's simply not true. So can you expand on that first, please, for the benefit of everyone?
Okay, that is a great question. You're going to hang up and let me answer?
Yes, I will.
Okay, all right. And if there's anything you need me to clarify on after that, you can call back. Feel free. Okay, so I'm gonna close the phone lines for 1 second. Y'all just allow me to answer this question. This is a very important question. Then I'll open the phone lines again in a minute and answer the rest of you. She's talking about some people who say if you give 100K to all of your citizens or give them benefits, for example, it's going to cause inflation. Okay? If you start giving checks to your citizens, it's going to cause inflation. And the reason they say that is sorry, I'm going to close the phone line just for 1 second. I'll open it back in a minute. All right. So I'll tell you when to call back in. And the reason they say that is because if more people have money, everything is going to get more expensive because people are going to start raising their prices. And so I do not believe that this is the case. There's a couple of reasons that I will say that. The problem is they don't understand that we're already having inflation. Every time a hotel comes or a hotel opens up in a neighborhood or foreigners come in and buy up land, the price of land goes up. The only difference is we are left out. Inflation is happening without us right now, and we can't afford to keep up. We can barely afford to buy good land, and all we're getting is the swamp land of the Crown land that they are selling to us for Frankie Wilson and Orville Turnquest's son and everyone else to benefit from. The FNM and the PLP. That's all we're getting. But inflation is happening right now, and we're getting left out. Okay? So I just want to explain to you. The reason inflation happens is because you raise prices because more people can afford and more people are competing for the same products and they have more money. Now, one of the reasons that won't happen, let's say clothing, food, etc. One of the reasons that won't happen in our economy is because unlike other countries where it happened before, like in Finland, etc., unlike other countries where it happened, Denmark, is because we are so close to America. There's nothing that the amount of money 200,000 people gets in the Bahamas can do that will affect America and their economy. Now, if I have a clothing store in the mall and I choose to raise my prices, you know what's going to happen? Bahamians are now going to jump on a plane and go to Miami and shop. Because we're so close to that market, that causes a problem. Okay, it causes a problem for anyone who would try to raise their prices because we could just jump on the plane. In fact, we don't have to jump on the plane. We can go on Amazon and we can shut them down. We can order our stuff and it comes straight directly to us. So raising your prices, you will be a fool to do that. You're going to be priced out because we're going to jump on a plane or we're going to order on Amazon. So that's one of the reasons. So the next reason we won't have inflation is because we're going to do something. We're going to dollarize. That means we're going to go to the US dollar, like Turks and Caicos, they're using the US dollar, etc. Why would we do that? One of the reasons we're doing that is so that our dollar won't be affected by what we're doing. And we're going to do business in US dollars. That way, we can get rid of exchange control. You can now buy on the stock market in the US. You can now get money you can borrow money to do your business or whatever you want to do on the markets, on international markets. You can invest freely. All of these things can happen. There's nothing that happens in our market that will affect the US dollar to the extent that it allows for inflation. And so the price of our dollar will not skyrocket and cause inflation because we're going to go to the dollar. We are going to dollarize. We already use the US dollar. Unlike these countries that had these problem of inflation of their dollar because they did it, we already carry US dollars in our pockets and it's already 1-to-1. And so what's the point of having both? Now, I know this sounds scary to some people, but we already use US dollars. And in fact, when we want to go to Miami, we change our money. Right now, if you check anyone's pocket, you probably have US dollars and Bahamian dollars interchangeably. And so by dollarizing, we don't have to worry about that problem. Now, I've already consulted with several economists on this, and they agree that if you dollarize, none of that will be a problem. Now, the next part is, and this is a good question. Thank you so much. Countries like Dubai, Qatar, and United Arab Emirates, etc., they didn't have these same problems that we are having. All right. Now, in Dubai, United Arab Emirates, their GDP is over 500 billion. They only have one natural resource. Only 5% of their GDP is from oil in Dubai. It's from oil, but it's from all the other business they do, which in the next part of our Vision 2025, you're going to see the other businesses we're going to do, like Singapore and Dubai. But they didn't experience this, and there's a reason. The people in Dubai are now wealthy. All of them have been made wealthy, every single one. And they didn't experience out of order inflation or more inflation than we're having already. It's because workers started coming in to work for them. The people had vision, the government had vision, and they needed to build skyscrapers. They needed to do things like we're talking in our vision. And so we're going to have people coming in to work for us. All right. Our Haitian brothers and sisters, they're going to come in and work for us. They're going to come to the Bahamas. They're going to work for us. Chinese, Mexicans, etc. Now they can come freely. They're already coming. All right. They're already here, except they're competing with us for jobs. All right. We don't have an immigration problem. We have an ownership problem. They're competing with us for jobs, and that's why it's a problem for them coming in. But in the case of, for example, Qatar, their population is 300 plus thousand persons, citizens, just like us. But their total population is 2.7 million. But it's not a problem for them. There's not an immigration problem. Everyone who comes in with a work permit. They live in a house. They don't have shanty towns, and they're working for them. So you're not going to be able to raise your prices because now you're going to price out all of those laborers who come in to work for us to build the new Bahamas. And so because you increase your population with Filipinos, Chinese, etc., your population has been increased of people who come to work for us Bahamians. Now you won't have the effect of inflation. Okay, we've thought this all the way through. And so these are some of the areas. It's not complete, but these are some of the main things that will prevent inflation, like these people are worrying about, thinking it's going to destroy our economy. When we come, we're going to come with vision right away. Like Saul Kirshner came, he came to build a hotel, and he came right away. We have vision that we're ready to implement right away. Our tourism industry is going to be mind blowing, and we're going to invest immediately. And so, for example, Dubai, they only found a small amount of oil, but what they did was they got loans. We're getting loans to pay off previous debt. We're borrowing money and wasting money, like a person borrowing to go on vacation. Moving forward, when we borrow, we're going to borrow to make money, to invest. We're going to use other countries' money. So, for example, China is one of the biggest borrowers from the IDB and the World Bank. A lot of people don't know that. China is. All right? That's because they can get low interest to almost no interest loans, and sometimes no interest loans from these institutions because one, they got good credit, and two, because the money is available. Why should they spend their own money? So they can borrow $500 million. I'm just calling numbers, not real numbers. They can borrow $500 billion and then lend it to America. They can borrow $30 billion and then, they can borrow $30 million and then build us a stadium. Hey, you want a stadium? Yeah. Take this free money and give it to you. Because they are considered a third world nation still, so they take advantage. They have leaders who think. So instead of borrowing, they borrow for a certain purpose. They borrow to build. So back to Dubai. Dubai borrowed on the value of their newfound natural resource, the oil, to start building their tourism industry and their real estate empire. They borrowed on the value of it and were able to pay it back. You understand? And so when we quantify our natural resources, you now have an asset that you can use to get started. So you can jumpstart what you're doing by saying, okay, we have determined that we have this amount of limestone, this amount of aragonite, or we're signing on the carbon credits and we're gonna get this amount of billions of dollars right away. This is the amount of our carbon credits, and we are going to monetize it on the market, and we're going to start doing other things that we can make money from. Like Singapore, they have no natural resources, but their GDP is mind-boggling with no natural resources. So these are some things we want to do. So I just wanted to answer that question about the $100,000 and how we're going to cover that. So we've thought this all the way through. All right. And so we won't have the problem that Denmark and other countries had when they started making a lot of money all of a sudden, and it caused their dollar to be inflated, and it caused the markets to have real super inflation. All right. So we won't have those problems. So I'm going to open the phone lines again. Thank you for that. Thank you for that amazing question. And it's something I was going to cover on the next live on Sunday when we talk about some of the businesses we're going into and why we're going to invest in Bahamian businesses and how it won't affect us in terms of inflation, etc. All right. So I hope we answer your question fine. Go back to the phone lines. Good afternoon. Welcome. You're live.
Hi, Lincoln. This is Floyd. How are you?
I am awesome, man. How you doing?
Pretty good. Good evening, Bahamas. Couple of things. I was just wondering if there's any way we could know how many new persons were listening to the show or watching, and how we could how to break new ground as to get the message out to the new crowd, because we have our crowd with us. We need to really evangelize, like you say, and get people aware of what's available.
Yes.
Now, is there any way we could monitor that?
Yes, we can see numbers everywhere. We can see numbers on all the different platforms that we're on. Like right now, you have thousands of people watching at one time. If you calculate all, we have a special software that I'm looking at right now, and we can see that on all the different software that we're on around the world, we have thousands of people watching right now. So you may see 300 plus on my page. You may see another number on another page, another number on another page, another number on YouTube, etc. But when you add all of them together, we can see all of the demographics, etc. We can see if there's men or women watching. All of these we can see on the software. We can see age ranges. So all of this is the good part about working on the internet is that you can see analytics. Now on the radio, you don't know how much people are watching, so you may think, oh, people are listening to this show or that show. But the fact of the matter is, you don't know. You can't tell. But with this, we can tell. Now, the best way to get the word out, we have to get the word out as individuals. This is a movement. All right. So it's not just our leaders' responsibility to get the word out. You have to get the word out. Just like if you're in the lodge, you get the word out, you go and recruit your people. If you're in a church, you go then you invite people to church. If you believe in this, that is why we have this regularly during the week. You can bring your people, you can bring them to watch it, you can bring them to get their education, some things you might not be able to understand. We take questions twice a week, every single week. And that is what we do and we'll continue to do. Now we're going to start having town hall meetings once a month. We're going to have a town hall meeting. All right. And so we're going to be inviting people to come out once a month to be a part of our town hall, to ask questions. Bring your family, bring them out, ask the tough questions. I don't run from questions. We're always ready for that. All right. So that, I hope that covers you.
Okay. Couple of things. The Vision 2025.
Mm-hmm.
Vision is supposed to create a movement.
Yes.
Movement is supposed to create opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Opportunity is supposed to create industry.
Mm-hmm.
But in order to have opportunity, we must have education.
Yes.
We must have, okay, take for instance like around the high schools. With that vision plan, I was talking to, I think it was Bernie or someone I was talking to. If we were to put up like a vision digital display with all the list of new careers that are going to come up in this new Bahamas. We're talking about a D grade. We could transfer, we could change the mindset of kids if they could actually see it. Like R. Kelly says, if I could see it, and I believe I could be it.
Yes.
If we have a list of the industries, we have the list of the different career opportunities within those industries. We can go from a D average to an A overnight, because I talk with kids every day and they're just brilliant, but they're not motivated in this old neo-colonialism curriculum that they have been doing.
Yes.
There's nothing tangible that they could visualize, that they can become. So
Yes.
we can keep our kids motivated through the Vision 2025. Then we have the movement. We have the industry, then we have the educational process, then we have the employment opportunity if they want to go in that lane, if they want to be employees, or if they want to be empowered to be involved in ownership. I think that's the main frame of the whole general dynamics of coalition of independence. Because you
Yes.
have independence, you have to be involved in ownership.
Yeah, we're dealing with ownership. In certain countries around the world, you can't campaign on jobs. Like this ridiculousness that they do with how much jobs they're going to provide, et cetera, it's absolute nonsense. You go to Singapore, and if you dare talk about jobs in your campaign, they're going to run you out of town. You know, when notice the Chinese, when they come here, they don't come here looking for jobs. They come here looking, even if they start small, looking for something that they can get into and make their own money. They're not looking to be hired by you. They're coming to make their money. You can't go in Dubai and Qatar campaigning on jobs. They'll run you out of town. But because they want us to be slaves, that is why we're in the state that we're in. Our campaign is not about jobs. It's not about what industry you can work in. It's about what industry that you can create. Because more people are what they noticed in Norway and other countries, Qatar, etc., was that when people got the 100,000, well, they didn't get 100,000. When they got their benefits, they thought that people would become lazy. They thought that the people would become lazy. And we're going to talk about this next week, because we're going to talk about universal basic income, because Canada was the country that first started giving out $100,000. They didn't experiment in a whole province, so that's like a state, where they actually gave out the $100,000 to see what would happen. And they also discovered that people didn't get lazy. People didn't just quit working or doing anything. They started doing what they love. And that's what this is about. Right now, as I drive around, I see a lot of Bahamians who are frustrated and angry. If you look at them on the red light, if you see how they blow at you so quickly when the light changes, and how frustrated people are angry. All right? It's because they're frustrated. They're doing what they don't love. They're frustrated. They can't make it. No matter how hard they try, they can't, they got to watch their child, sometimes not have lunch money. They can't go certain places, no matter how hard they try. And people are frustrated. But in those countries, if you go and look at Norway, in the middle of the day, the parks are full. People are out in the grass, just chilling, thinking about what business they're going to do next because they have a cushion to fall back on. So they can take more risks. The reason our people can't take risks is because, they gotta pay that rent. They gotta pay that mortgage. The child's school fee is coming up. They can't afford to risk opening no business and it may fail. And so many businesses have not been done in this country because people just can't take the risk.
So two things. One, I pledge, this is the ministerial oath of office. I pledge my allegiance, not to the Commonwealth. So let's leave that there. Then two, they actually violate the preamble of the Constitution. Because what you're doing, you're frustrating people by depriving them of, one, their natural resources, two, the sovereign fund that we have available, three, information. We need information so we could be informed citizens or voters.
Yes.
If you keep the guy ignorant, like you said, you keep them dependent on the system that wants them to come and beg. So it really breeds and it spawns on and it goes perpetually and you get nowhere as a nation.
Yes.
You see?
All right. Thank you for your call, man. We appreciate it.
Okay.
All right. 803-5995 is the number. 803-5995. We can do another 7 minutes. We can take a couple more calls. 803-5995. All we need is a different kind of thinking in our country. Next week, on Sunday, not next week, but on Sunday, we're going to show you the vision. And I just want to say while we're here, I am going to the House of Assembly tomorrow. And anyone who wants to come, you can come and join. All right, I'm not calling for a protest. I'm going to sit in those halls. And if they dare bring any citizenship bill, there's going to be a problem. All right, politically. All right, we're going to go in that halls. And we're going to start attending the House of Assembly. But tomorrow we're going to go there to let them know that, listen, we are here and we are coming for this. We're going to sit in their faces and let them know that we're coming for this. And so join us. We're going to go there, and if they bring any bill to open up our borders, to change our citizenship laws, even though we voted no, we're going to stand up. Go back to the phone lines. Good afternoon, you're live.
Good night, how you doing?
Good night.
All right, I'm calling to talk about us becoming a republic and stepping away from the monarch.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to know what would be done or how would we go about that.
Okay, no problem. You can hang up and I'll answer your question, all right?
All right.
All right. So he's talking about becoming a republic. We want to become a republic, but we definitely do not want Philip Brave Davis and these merry men to be the persons to do it. And so, because they're going to do the wrong republic and they're going to have the same system that's going to keep the slavery. We don't want the form of republic that Barbados has. We don't want that. We don't want the form of republic that Trinidad or any of these countries have. We want a republic that's more like the one that America has. Not that they're perfect, but we want one that's more like theirs with a few tweaks, all right, to suit us. But we want a republic that's more like that, all right? Sorry, I'll get back to the phone in a minute. I just got to answer this question first, all right? So we want a president and a vice president. We don't want a president and a prime minister. We want a president and a vice president, and we want a system more like America's system. We want to vote for our public officers. That is what we want to do. We want to vote for all of our public officers. So our judges, etc., we want to vote for them. All right? We want to vote for our judges so that we don't want judges just appointed by the prime minister so that now you can see these, you have to be afraid of the judgments. They can, if they don't like you, they can do a judgment against you as they want. And there are people who are saying that has been their experience. You see right now in the Adrian Gibson case, his his attorney, King's counsel, is saying that I don't want this particular judge because he says this judge is connected to the PLP is what he is saying, and he is afraid that she's not going to have the result, well, not gonna give a fair give him a fair trial, and that's his concern, and there may be many people with that concern. So we want to vote for our judges. We want to vote for our chiefs of police because every island state is going to have their own chief of police, and then there's going to be one general chief over all of them in the capital. We want to vote for our chiefs of police. Okay, we did a plan called Plan for Good Governance. Is on our COI website, and we're going to play that one day, and we're going to discuss it also. And it shows how we want to do something different, but we want a different form of republic. And so the first thing we're going to have to do to get this republic is we're going to have to go to a referendum. And so we're going to go to a referendum and let the people say we want to go to a republic, and this is the kind of republic that we want. It's not very difficult. It's not hard at all. And so we just got to stand up on our own 2 feet. The problem is all of our leaders grew up under the Queen, so they just had some affinity. And so it was just Ingram and those, they didn't believe in the Queen system. That's why he didn't allow a knighthood. He never became Sir Hubert Ingram. And others did the same thing, A.D. Hanna, etc. There are other persons who didn't want to take anything from the Queen. I think Perry Christie was one of them too. But then why didn't you have the courage to just move away from the Queen? It's ridiculous. But these people who are born under the Queen, they can't think outside of it. They're stuck on it. And we keep making them our leaders. And this is the problem. We need a leader born in the Bahamas, not in the UK, not as a colony of the UK, to take us into the next Bahamas. Pintard, sorry, you're going to be 62 at the next election, which means you were born under the Queen. Brave, you could be 76. Cooper, you're going to be pushing 60 at the next election. We need Bahamians born in the New Bahamas to take us where we need to go. All right? So I hope I answered your question. But we'll give more details later, and it's going to be an education process to go forward. But we're going to move away from them, just like Barbados did. It was a very simple process, and the Queen doesn't own anything in the Bahamas. She's only a titular head. It's a constitutional monarch, which means she has no power, no authority. It's almost like Ronald McDonald, and I'm saying the Queen, but it's the King. It's like Ronald McDonald. He's not really the in charge or any decision maker in McDonald's. It's just a representative. That's really what it is. All right. So I'll go back to the phone line. So sorry about that, but I wanted to answer that question properly for you. Right. We're going to be moving into the New Bahamas, and we're not moving forward with the King. We're not interested in the King. All right. And so, thank you. That's it. All right. 803-5995. 803-5995 is the number. 803-5995 if you want to call in. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you got a good idea of the first part of this that shows where it's going to be coming from, how we're going to do it. I hope you're able to answer some questions to your friends and family. If not, come here. We're going to be talking about the vision more than talking about all this distractions in politics. We don't have time for that. We got to save this country. Now we're going to show you when they're doing corruption. We're going to stand up to them, and we're going to fight for the Bahamian people. We're going to continue to do that. A new show is starting tomorrow. Some Bahamians decided to start a new show. And so it's going to be tomorrow at 8 p.m. Right here on the same network of channels at 8 p.m. It's called Talk That. All right. So it's called Talk That, and it's going to be right here tomorrow at 8 p.m. And so it's going to be very interesting. So make sure you're here for it. And so it's a panel, kind of like The View. It's like a mixture between The View and maybe The Daily Show. All right. So it's going to be right here on this network. Make sure you are here to watch that. Some politicians might get cussed out. So I tell you now. Let me go to phone lines one more time. Good afternoon. Welcome. You're live.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, I got a question I want to ask. If we get this $100,000, what you saying what we could get, could we invest that back into the Bahamas? Anything with like if you're dealing with the sand or the rock or anything like that?
Well, let me tell you, that $100,000 is separate than any investment that we need to make. All right, that $100,000 is your money, and what that is not that's not you begging for anything. That is your entitlement, because we are going to be investing in our natural resources. We're going to form a sovereign wealth fund. All right, and I'm drafting a bill right now to amend our present sovereign wealth fund that they have not even enacted, to make sure Bahamians benefit from it. And so that money is your entitlement. So many people are thinking, oh, y'all want free things or whatever. That's not free things. If Brent Simonet Daddy, hold on. No, I don't mean you. I mean people are saying that, right? I don't mean you at all. People are saying people want free things. If Brent Simonet Daddy, I won't go there. If you die and you leave $100,000 on your bank account, and you got 2 children, and you have a house, and should anyone tell your children that they want free things if their daddy leave them something? They're entitled to that, right? That's theirs.
Yeah.
All right. And so one of your child might be a drunkard, but that's his money. That's his money to squander if he wants to squander it. And so,
right. But what I'm saying is, I want to invest.
Right.
Into the sand and rock.
Yes, you see. All right, let me show you how it's done. So I heard some people saying that, why don't private citizens go and invest in the natural resources, etc. Yes, you can do that, and you're free to do that. All right. But what happens is, if we do it collectively as a people, there's more benefits to that. So, for example, Norway, they found oil in Norway, right, which saved them because they were right on the verge of bankruptcy. You don't then go and tell the individual citizens who have been suffering for all these years, who barely have any money to do anything until now. You don't tell them, oh, you all go invest yourself in oil. No, the state forms an entity, just like Dubai did. Dubai formed an entity called Nakil, all right, and the citizens are invested in that. They get a piece of that pie, all right. So in Norway, they did the same thing. And the Sovereign Wealth Fund owns it. And the Sovereign Wealth Fund is owned by the people. All right. And so when this entity, and it's owned by the people, but it's not run by the government, because you don't want governments running businesses. They form a separate kind of company that will run the business, and then everyone gets their dividends from it. So in Dubai, they did the same thing when they formed Nakil. And these persons are able to benefit, but it's owned by the government, but run privately, just like their sovereign wealth fund is. Okay? And so what you can do to make it easier is you can buy shares in it. All right? And so
basically that's what I was managing.
Right. I just wanted to get to it to make sure everyone listening can understand also. The best way to make money, in fact, you're not making money until you're making money in your sleep. And so the government will form entities that persons will be able to own, have a piece of the pie in automatically because they're Bahamian, and they can buy extra shares in it. All right? And they will get based on what they will put in. So if you want to invest half of your $100,000 in one of the businesses that we're doing, you're free to do so. If you want to invest all of your money, you're free to do so. But yes, you'll be able to buy back in. But we will jumpstart this process. This is not socialism or communism. We are going to encourage Bahamians to go into many different businesses. You go and do as much business as you want. It's capitalism, all right? And the government is going to keep their hands out of your business, including the business that the government is running for the people. We're going to keep our hands out of that too and let it be run privately. You understand?
Right, I understand. But like I say, the money is what you reckon off. I mean, if you invest back into it, even if you get even private books,
yes,
start delivering that's some good money in that.
Yes, but I don't want you to think 100 grand is no money. That ain't no money. That's small money. All right, that ain't no big money.
If you're getting it every year,
Yes.
if you're doing it every year,
But we will have grants available to you with bigger money, up to $5 million, that you can go into any business as a Bahamian.
okay.
All right? And so you take your money as your cushion. So if your business fails, you still got the 100 grand to go try something else. Go try something else. You understand?
All right.
That's how we're going to change the game. And we want you to not just think about this 400,000 people and investing here. We want Bahamians to invest around the world. But that's going to come in our next live on Sunday. Make sure you're watching it, okay? All right, thank you. Good afternoon, you're live.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Good night, Lincoln. How you doing?
I am awesome. How you doing?
That's good. I think the problem is with Bahamian, with this thing about us benefiting from our natural resources. I think the problem is, and that people getting benefits free. I think the problem is that this is so much that is unbelievable. I think that based on the numbers I believe it's true.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the problem that most Bahamians have with that is that most persons have contributed to society, working 20, 30, 40 years. They've been working hard, all these years contributing to society. And then Toby, who been knocking about all his life on the streets, now here comes now for you to benefit from your natural resources. And then Toby's benefit who never really contributed to society, but by right, Toby is a Bahamian. By right, he's supposed to benefit because he is a Bahamian. I think that's the problem with most Bahamians somehow, that guess what? This person hasn't contributed at all to society, but now they benefiting now. And I've been slaving for almost 40, 30 years, and now these persons who ain't even contributed like that, now they're benefiting. But again, like you said, he's entitled or she's entitled, right? Because they are Bahamian by right. They're organic Bahamians, and by right, yes, they're supposed to benefit because they are Bahamians.
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to say, I think that's the problem right there. It isn't that they don't believe in it. They don't feel that persons, those who never did nothing with their life, supposed to benefit. And Bahamians have that kind of mindset. So I guess you have to spoon feed them in doses about that.
Yeah.
Where they be educated about that, because that's the culture of our people. That's how we go.
It's called the black crab syndrome. You're watching everyone else's money. I will tell you this. If you are serious, if someone was squandering their money all their life, they get $100,000, and most likely they could squander that too, But guess what?
That's true.
Guess what? They may even still be in a similar situation that they was in before. But guess what you do? You create a business that they're going to funnel that money to as a Bahamian. So if you know that person like to go to the club, you open up a club. You know that person like to buy Fendi and Louis and Gucci, you open up a Fendi and Louis and Gucci for the persons who are going to squander. And so there will be persons who squander there. So like in the Arab states, in the Middle East, there are persons who squander theirs in Dubai. Some of them people, they balling, they buying Ferraris and they balling. All right, some. And then there are some who go into business, and they're the ones who we trying to get to come here right now to invest. The government is bragging about going to Dubai, going to Qatar, etc., and because the people there are wealthy, but they're wealthy because their government made them wealthy. Now there's some who squandering their money. Okay, let them squander it. That's theirs.
Wow.
But I will open up.
Mindset just need to change.
Yes, I will open up businesses for all the squanderers. Let them come squander with me. You like go to the club and buy Cavassier? I go open my club. Come, bring the 100 grand.
Wow.
But it's gonna stay in our circle, in our system. Get it?
Yes. If you're a Bahamian, if you're a organic Bahamian, yes, you can get these benefits.
Yes.
You're qualified to get these benefits if you're organic Bahamian. I believe in it. Believe in it. But I'm just saying that mindset of some of the Bahamian stuff, they like you say, they like to watch. They like to watch the money, and they feel like if you have not contribute, you shouldn't benefit.
Yeah.
And they've been, working hard, slaving all these years.
Your parents and grandparents and great grands, they contributed, and they worked this ground by their blood, sweat, and tears, we deserve this. We inherited this nation. All right? The Finland generation, they worked hard so that we could get here. They started it. They brought us into the wilderness, but we got to take this over into the promised land, and that is what we're going to do. Thank you for your call, man.
All right, good night. Good night.
All right, good night. I see someone else was trying to call in. I'll take one more call, and then we wrap up. 803-5995, 803-5995 is the number. And so I'll tell you, the biggest reason that slavery lasted so long had nothing to do with the master. It was because the slaves wanted to continue in slavery for many different reasons. I love that Django movie and how they put that together and showed you how the slave, Stephen from Django was jealous of another black man being on a horse. He should have been proud to see another black man on that horse and wearing shoes. He couldn't believe it. Go back to the phone lines. Good afternoon. You're my last caller for the night.
Do you think the people are wise enough now for a by-election? You think they learn? Do you think they learn now?
Well, a by-election is coming, but only for Long Island. There will be a by-election in Long Island. Based on what I'm seeing now, Adrian, it's going to be very difficult for him to win that, and all of the odds are stacked against him. So that's the only place we can have a by-election. But if we come out in droves, we can end this government now and go into the New Bahamas. We can.
That's right.
But that's right. Bahamians have to wake up. And we have a duty to wake up our brothers and sisters. I always tell people the majority of blacks did not vote for the 1967. The majority of blacks voted against themselves. I always riddle off these numbers. 19,100 voted for the UBP. 18,100 voted for the PLP. 3,300 voted for the independents. 2,100 voted for Randall Folks. Them. Listen, that means the vast majority of people didn't believe that we could even govern this country. Their thinking at the time was, oh, black people can't govern this country. It ain't possible. It ain't real. They selling dreams. These jokey fellas, they never had no job. They never had no real job. Yeah, Pill and them going to England to school, but they never did nothing with their life. You know, they didn't believe. They said we didn't own business. But it took the people, it took years to get them to understand. But with the information age now, we can get the message out quicker, and you can talk to all of the people around you to get them to wake up.
But listen, Lincoln, when that radio journalist made that statement about this Lincoln wannabe politician, where he's going to get $100,000 to go to people, but all of the politicians was wannabe politicians because all of them had to pay $400 to get to be a representative, right?
Yeah, Brave was a wannabe politician. So was Chester. So was Menace.
So what he was talking? You didn't believe he didn't answer my text when I texted him and he said that, you know.
Listen.
He wasn't mind enough to answer my text when he said all of them were wannabe politicians. That's how they get there.
Listen, you have to read between the lines. They're going to say anything they have to say to convince us that we're supposed to stay on this plantation. They don't want us to be free. And so if I'm the one sending the message, I'm going to take the bullets. And I'm willing to take the bullets. I'm willing to be attacked, lied on. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. I'm willing to take the reputational damage because that's how they fight politics.
You can make the history in the prime minister's seat, my boy. Don't. You know what I'm saying? There's no doubt about that. If they didn't listen to you when you said that voice, when you said if you vote for, you know what, what happen?
Yeah.
You know better now, right?
Yeah. All right. Thank you for your call, man.
All
right. Good afternoon. You're live.
Good afternoon. So how are you?
I am awesome. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm here listening. What I would like to say is a lot of things don't read. Is it natural? It's because the government made it that way.
Mm-hmm.
From depriving them from years and years of what belongs to them.
Yes.
also of money.
Yeah.
We think there's a money shortage.
No.
There's billions and trillions, quadrillions, and massive. It's not a shortage of money. And a change of perception, we probably get it soon. But we thank you for taking us through. That's it.
All right. Thank you for your call, man. I appreciate it. So, ladies and gentlemen, we went on a journey tonight. We went on a journey from showing you what we have and just an example of it. So I don't want people to think that we only talk about sand and aragonite. It's just a good example because we have a natural resource that's very needed. They use it to build the world. All of the microchips is needed around the world. Your car, they can't make cars without it. They can't make phones without it. Glass. There's so many things that they use sand and aragonite to make. We have the building blocks of society. We have the building blocks of society. Even the future, everything is going into the clouds. The clouds are servers that are microchips that need our silica sand. We have the building blocks of society, the roads that they want to build. Whenever there's a downturn in the economy, governments start investing in infrastructure. And so Biden wants to do this $2 billion project. He needs our sand, our aragonite. The Belt and Road project going on in China right now, they need our sand and our aragonite. They're building roads. We just need leaders who can think. And so I want to encourage all of you to spread the message and to spread the word of a New Bahamas. This New Bahamas does not require the people with the master's degrees and the doctorate degrees. It requires people who are willing and ready to turn this country over to the Bahamian people, to wake up every day thinking of how they can benefit the Bahamian people. That's all we need. Because right now, and for the last 50 years, we have had politicians who wake up every day thinking about how they can do something for a foreigner so they can get paid under the table. And that's it. But something new is coming. The new Bahamians are rising. And you have to talk to your friends and family. It's going to take some time, but talk to them. As you come here and get the information, you go back and you give them the information. You let them come and watch. You tell them stop wasting time with the PLP and FNM. Tell your children, just like the PLP and FNMs did, you tell them why they should vote COI. Not just because you're a COI. You tell them why they should vote for the New Bahamas. This for them. And this for you. New vision, new change. Tomorrow at 8 p.m., a new show it's called Talk That. It's going to be right here on this network. So tune in right at 8 p.m. Make sure you have your notification on. And also, phone still ringing. And also, tomorrow at 9:30 a.m., I'm going to the House of Assembly. All right, I'm going to the House of Assembly. So if you want to join me, you're free to do so. All right, let's go there. Let's show them we're serious and that we're going to be paying attention. All right, and so 9:30 a.m., that's where I'm going to be. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for a change. There's so much other things we need to talk about, but we're going to start letting other people talk about that stuff. Tomorrow at 8 p.m., they're going to talk about all that stuff. I'm disappointed at the Prime Minister saying that they're not going to touch the shanty towns, etc. You know, there's a lot of stuff that needs to be addressed. We're going to take more time out talking about this vision and how we can get into this New Bahamas and answering the questions of the Bahamian people. All right? So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank all of you for tuning in. I want to thank you. We are going to bring this change together. We are going to see this change together. The New Bahamas is upon us. And all it takes is for all of us to do our part. I hear people saying we need to take this to every island, et cetera, et cetera. It takes funding. We spend a lot of money doing what we do on a daily basis. We help a lot of people on a daily basis. Everything we do does not come on social media. And it's very expensive what we do. And so if you want to support us, go to our website, coalitionofindependence.com, and click on the donate button and donate. Or we also on our website and Facebook page, we have our hours up, our office hours. You can come to the office at any time and you can make a donation. All right. And so the office hours are up. Close on Saturdays. I think it's 11 to 4 or 11 to 5, and you can look at it and see and get our office hours. You can get time to see me, or you can call. All right. My number is open to everybody. All right. 803-5995. 803-5995. That is the numbers. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for tuning in. And I got a little special song that I want to play for you as we leave. This is my special song. I love this song. This is a song that says that we're going to a whole new place. We're gonna see some change. I love this song, and I hope you love this song. I've had people calling me and ask me to send this song to them, but this has become my favorite song. It rings in my head all day as I think about this mission that we're on. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be sitting here for the next 2 minutes and listening to this song with you. I want you to have this song in your heart and your soul. Look at the words of this song. It's real. And remember, change ain't coming, change is here.
On back peaceful.
Whoa, easy now.
I'm afraid like that. I've been walking with my face turned to the sun. Weight on my shoulders, pulling in my gun. Oh, I got eyes in the back of my head, just in case I have to run. I do what I can for my people. While the clouds roll back and the stars fill the night, that's when the Lord will stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home, far across the river. Can you hear freedom calling, calling me to answer? Gonna keep on keeping on. I can feel it in my bones.
You have made it 100 miles to freedom. Would you like to pick a new name to mark your freedom?
Very turned up.
Early in the morning, before the sun begins to shine, we're gonna start moving towards that separating line. I'm waiting through my eyes. You know I gotta made up mind, and I don't mind if I lose any blood on the way to salvation. And I'll fight with the strength that I got until I die. So I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home, far across the river. You hear freedom calling, calling me to answer. Gonna keep on keeping on.
Harriet, welcome to the Underground Railroad.
I know what's around the bend. It might be hard to face because I'm alone. And I just might fail. But Lord knows I tried. Sure, the stars fill up the sky. Stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going
across the river. You hear freedom calling, calling me to answer. Gonna keep on keeping on. I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home. Far across the river, you hear freedom calling, calling me to answer. Gonna keep on keeping on. I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home. Far across the river, I hear freedom calling, calling me to answer. Gonna keep on keeping on. I can feel it in my bones.
Ladies and gentlemen, I go to prepare a place for you. And it's a place that you will love. It is a place called the New Bahamas. See you next time.